Chapter 30. Huangbin desperately wanted to escape, but he refused to admit that he had something better on him. Naturally, Huangbin denied Fang Ping's words. Fang Ping did not mind. He tapped the floor lightly with his bayonet and asked after some thought, "Looks like you've committed some serious crimes. You've killed a lot of people, haven't you?" Huangbin did not answer. For this kind of matter, a bad answer could cause a huge unforeseen event. Seeing that he did not answer, Fang Ping did not pursue the matter. He had already made up his mind. Right now, he was not too interested in this. After a moment of thought, Fang Ping finally asked about what he was most interested in. "I'll ask you another question. If I'm satisfied with your answer, I might consider what you said earlier." Huangbin said cautiously, "Ask away." "What is a martial artist?" This question was very childish. Many people would laugh if they heard it. How laughable was it for someone who did not even know what a martial artist was to pursue the path of martial arts? However, Huangbin was not in the mood to laugh. Aside from true martial artists, or those who had learned from their families, how many people knew what a true martial artist was? Fang Ping was not asking about martial artists, but how to become one, the standards, and the definition of a martial artist. These were actually secrets. There were many reasons why the government did not announce this information to the public. Under normal circumstances, one would only find out after getting into a martial arts university. If it were Wang Jinyang, he would probably say, "You'll understand when you get into a martial arts university." However, Huangbin was not Wang Jinyang. He did not even care about himself now, let alone these not-so-secret secrets. He wanted to trick Fang Ping once, but he remembered that Fang Ping was still far from becoming a martial artist. Who knew how long it would take for him to break through? There was no point in lying now. Thinking of this, Huangbin said honestly, "Martial artists are actually a group of ordinary people who have broken through their physical limits. The key to becoming a martial artist is to break through your limits. Let's not talk about middle-ranked and high-ranked martial artists. They're still far away from you. Let's talk about low-ranked martial artists first. I told you before that low-ranked martial artists focus on honing their bones, followed by changing their muscles and refining their skin. As for vitality, it's the foundation of training their muscles, bones, and skin. In conclusion, a strong vitality is the foundation, and strong bones are the qualifications to break through to become a martial artist." As Huangbin explained, Fang Ping gradually understood the path of a martial artist. At the same time, Fang Ping could not help but recall what Wang Jinyang had said. This was also to prevent cultivation techniques from being passed down. Without guidance and protection, it was extremely dangerous. In the past few years, there were actually no restrictions on the spread of cultivation techniques. However, many normal people obtained cultivation techniques and took a risk to become martial artists. Every year, many people lost their lives. Naturally, there were people who succeeded, but they were in the minority. Out of 100 people who practiced cultivation techniques, less than 1% could break through to become a martial artist without any guidance. The others either did not dare to continue cultivating, or their blood vessels burst when they were cultivating or breaking through. Moreover, many normal people did not have the vitality to reach the standard. If they cultivated in advance, they would eventually hurt their foundation and could not be replenished. Modern times were not like ancient times. Human life was still very important. To prevent this from happening, the spread of cultivation techniques was restricted. Only martial artists above rank had the ability to watch over and suppress normal people when they were breaking through. Therefore, in the end, the government made a series of actions, including the rule that the legal person of martial arts training classes had to be at least rank 4. When normal people broke through to a martial artist, unless they did not have this condition or had no other choice, they would let a rank 4 martial artist hold the line. Martial arts training classes were extremely expensive. The cultivation techniques were not the main thing. The key was the guarantee of safety. Those who signed up for training classes had the right to ask a rank 4 martial artists to watch over them when they were breaking through. If the breakthrough was not successful, a rank 4 martial artist could help suppress a potential martial artist's vitality outburst. In martial arts universities, it was almost the same situation. When students were breaking through, they could ask for a rank 4 martial artist or above to hold the line. Vitality, bone strength, and cultivation techniques were the 3 prerequisites. Other than that, there were resources, including vitality pills, bone-honing pills, viscera-shielding pills, and so on. Those with good conditions would prepare more, and those with poor conditions would prepare less. Therefore, if there were no rank 4 martial artists in the family, very few people would become martial artists before Gaokao. It was too risky. Even rank 3 martial artists could not suppress a martial artist's vitality when they failed to break through and prevent their body from exploding. After listening to this, Fong Ping frowned slightly. So, without a ranked 4 martial artist present, normal people can't become martial artists? Huang Bin knew what Fong Ping was thinking too well. It was not just Fong Ping's thoughts. Normal people did not want to become martial artists. Otherwise, there would not have been a ban on cultivation techniques. It was because there were too many people like this, and ranked for martial artists were not cabbages. Many people risked their lives, causing cultivation techniques to be banned. If it was Huang Bin's family or children, of course, Huang Bin would make it clear. Even if he broke through rank 3 and his children wanted to break through, he would pay a price to find a rank 4 martial artist to hold the line. Who was Fong Ping, though? He was the enemy who set him up. Therefore, when Fong Ping asked, Huang Bin quickly said, "It's not that only rank 4 martial artists can do it. As long as the foundation is strong, there are some risks, but not too much. In the past, not everyone had a ranked 4 martial artist to protect them. Most of the older martial artists relied on themselves. As long as they can break through in one go, there won't be any danger. Many geniuses don't need protection at all, because these people can succeed in one go." After saying that, Huang Bin looked at Fong Ping. It was obvious that he was saying, "You are a genius. Don't be afraid. Break through directly. You won't die." Young people did not know their place, thinking that they were one of a kind. Young people should be flattered. If you flattered them, they would be happy. If you belittled them, they would be unhappy, thinking that you were looking down on them. Huang Bin understood the thoughts of these young people. After all, he was once a young person. In the past, he, Huang Bin, was full of confidence, thinking that he could break through successfully without anyone to protect him. However, he did not consider that even the students in martial arts universities had a 50% chance of failing to break through every year. Huang Bin had almost lost his life when he was in the martial arts training class. Even now, he still had lingering fears. If Fong Ping wanted to try, Huang Bin would be happy to see it happen. Of course, the kid had to survive until then. Seeing that he was inquiring about martial artists, Huang Bin could not wait for the kid to break through immediately. It would be best if he died. Unfortunately, the kid was not qualified yet. He did not even have the chance to break through. Fong Ping was not really 17 or 18 years old. How could he not understand this guy's thoughts? He sneered in his heart. To be honest, Fong Ping did have this thought in mind. He did not know if he was a genius, but he had a cheat. He could barely be considered a genius, right? However, he was still far from breaking through to martial artist, so Fong Ping did not think too much about it. If he got into a martial arts university, he would have instructors to protect him, so Fong Ping did not have to take the risk. As he thought about this, Fong Ping asked again, "Do you have a cultivation method?" "Yes." Huang Bin's answer was straightforward. He said immediately, "Most low-ranked martial artists cultivate basic cultivation methods. The martial arts training class and martial arts university's basic cultivation methods are almost the same. Even if there are differences, it's usually in the order of honing. There are many bones in the human body. Some cultivation methods hone the legs first, while others hone the hands and arms first. There's not much of a difference. It's just a matter of the order. Bone honing isn't something that can be done overnight. When a prospective martial artist breaks through to a martial artist, the bones are only slightly strengthened. Low-ranked martial artists, even rank 3, are always honing their bones. Then what about your cultivation method?" A hint of a smile appeared in Huang Bin's eyes. He continued, "I've read basic cultivation methods for 20 years. I've memorized them by heart. Naturally, I don't have to carry any secret manuals with me. The cultivation method is in my head. If you let me go, I'll give you the cultivation method immediately." Fong Ping believed him when he said he did not have any secret manuals with him. If he did, Fong Ping would have discovered it long ago. However, even if Huang Bin had given it to Fong Ping, He would not have trusted him if he had asked him to memorize and copy it. He stopped asking about the cultivation method. Right now, Fong Ping was thinking about how to deal with this guy. Kill him? Just as Huang Bin said, the Sun City officials would find out sooner or later. After all, this guy was hiding. It looked like he was avoiding capture. Also, even if Fong Ping's mental age was older than he was now, he had done bad things, but he had never killed anyone. Fong Ping would not dare to kill Huang Bin even if he did. If he did not kill him, though, this guy was a rank 2 martial artist. It was too dangerous. He could only send him to the police station. The key was, Fong Ping glanced at the package in front of him. If he sent the guy away, would the police leave these things for him? Stop joking. There were a few million worth of valuables. Some things could not even be bought with money, such as the bone honing pill and viscera shielding pill. These were things that Fong Ping could not buy even if he wanted to. How should he deal with Huang Bin? Fong Ping had a headache. This guy was a hot potato. He would definitely send him away. The key was how he would do it. He could not just send him to the police station. If that happened, he might not even get a cent. He was a normal person. How could he have the chance to bargain with the officials? After thinking for a while, Fong Ping came to a decision. Ignoring Huang Bin's expectant face, Fong Ping searched for a while and found the broken wooden stick he had thrown earlier. When he saw Fong Ping pick up the stick and walk toward him, Huang Bin's expression darkened. He said nervously, What are you doing? You're too dangerous. Being unconscious is better than being awake. Don't come near me. Don't scream. If someone hears you, you'll be in a worse state than you are now. Huang Bin wanted to scream. He wanted to scream, but when he thought of the possibility of attracting attention, he did not dare to scream. If he did not dare to scream, Fong Ping would not pity him. Bang! The wooden stick hit his head again. At that moment, Huang Bin wanted to die. He wanted to faint even more. Even if he pretended to faint, Fong Ping did not hold back. He hit him 5 or 6 times in a row. Fong Ping only stopped when Huang Bin's moans became weak and feeble. Chapter 31. A few minutes later, Fong Ping walked out of Unit 201. He closed the door, still carrying a black plastic bag in his hand. He did not take the cash, nor did he take the military knife. He only brought the 6 bottles of pills with him. The pills were extremely expensive. Fong Ping did not feel safe leaving them here. If a thief took them away, he would not even have a place to cry. As for Huang Bin, Fong Ping gagged him again and shoved him under the bed. Fong Ping frowned slightly as he walked out of the district. I've brought the pills, but they're not counted as wealth. Is it because I haven't met the requirements? Or are these items not counted as wealth, but cash? It shouldn't be a problem with the cash. After all, I took the cash just now. Fong Ping pondered for a moment. He guessed that the money and pills did not completely belong to him yet. After all, if this matter was not handled properly, the money might not belong to him in the end. His wealth did not increase, but Fong Ping was not in a hurry. The most important thing now was to deal with Huang Bin. He had arrested him. According to the original plan, he would have sent him directly to the police station. Now, however, Fong Ping was not willing to send him in just like that. Huang Bin was not a mute. If he went in, he would take everything away. He could not withstand the pressure from the police now. Fong Ping thought about it and decided that he had to find someone to help share the burden. If worst came to worst, they could split the loot together. If Fong Ping had the ability to settle the aftermath, he would naturally take everything for himself. Currently, he lacked the ability to do so. The only thing he could do now was to cut his losses. It was better than getting nothing at all. Who could share the burden? Wang Jinyang's figure flashed across Fong Ping's mind. He had no other choice. It was not that he knew Wang Jinyang was after Huang Bin. He was the only martial artist Fong Ping knew. If he was not a martial artist, he would not have the ability to withstand the pressure, be it from his parents, his teachers, or anyone else Fong Ping knew. Of all the people he knew, the only one who had the ability and hoped to keep the loot was Wang Jinyang. Also, Wang Jinyang was a martial arts university student. This was an important identity. Fong Ping had interacted with him for a while, but he did not know him well. From their conversation, though, he could tell that Wang Jinyang was not a bad person. Even if they did not split the loot evenly, It was possible that the guy would take everything for himself. He was a martial arts university student and an official martial artist with a bright future ahead of him. For the sake of a few million, the possibility of him killing himself and taking everything for himself was not high. The most serious consequence was that Wang Jinyang would take all the benefits for himself. It was slightly better. Wang Jinyang would eat the most, so he should at least leave some benefits for him. If it was any better, it would be as Fang Ping had predicted. Everyone would split it equally. To Fang Ping, this was the best outcome. Fang Ping made up his mind after he had thought through everything and made sure that his own safety was guaranteed. At that moment, Fang Ping's only thought was that he was still too weak. If he was a little stronger and became a martial artist, so what if he swallowed it all for himself? He had caught a fugitive and accidentally killed him. That was justifiable self-defense. How could the Sun City officials find trouble with him? There weren't many martial artists in Sun City, so they were highly respected. Even if he knew that Zhang Xian had taken advantage of him, he wouldn't make it public. But now, he was just an ordinary senior high school student. Who would take him seriously? It did not matter if Huang Bin was dead or sent to the police station. As long as they found out that he was related to Fang Ping would not be able to take advantage of him. At most, he would give him a reward for being a good Samaritan. Compared to a few million in wealth, though, the reward was nothing. Fang Ping did not care for it. 10 minutes later, it was past 11 in the morning. Number 1 high school. The last class had ended. Wu Zhihao had just stepped out of the classroom when he saw Fang Ping, who had taken the morning off, waving at him. Wu Zhihao walked over and asked curiously, "Fang Ping, are you sick? Teacher said you weren't feeling well this morning." "I'm fine. I've been training too much. I'll be fine after some rest." Fang Ping did not say much. He said immediately, "Didn't you have Brother Wang's phone number when we picked him up? Do you still have it?" Of course. Wu Zhihao had a phone. The school had given him Wang Jinyang's number when they picked him up, so it would be easier to pick him up. Wang Jinyang was a martial artist. It was not easy to get his number. How could Wu Zhihao not keep it? "That's good. Can I borrow your phone for a while?" "You," Wu Zhihao said uncertainly, "you're not going to call Brother Wang, are you?" "Yes. I have something I need Brother Wang's help with." Wu Zhihao was shocked. He quickly advised, "Fang Ping, Brother Wang is a martial artist after all. He's polite to us, but for no reason at all." Fang Ping knew what he meant. He smiled and said, "Don't worry. It's something good. If you're worried, just give me his number. I'll call him myself." This, Wu Zhihao was hesitant. In the end, he took out his phone from his pocket and handed it to Fang Ping. "Go ahead, but make sure you say something polite. If Brother Wang doesn't help, don't mind him. Don't offend him. Am I that stupid?" Fang Ping laughed. He took the phone and quickly flipped through the contact list. When he saw the name Brother Wang Jinyang, he dialed the number immediately. White Mountains. The mountain entrance to Sun City. Wang Jinyang had entered the mountains in the afternoon of the 9th. By the evening of the 10th, he had almost covered the entire mountain range in Sun City. Needless to say, he had found nothing. Considering that he still had to return to school, Wang Jinyang had no choice but to leave the mountains, even though he was a little disappointed. Wang Jinyang, who had just left White Mountains, looked tired and gloomy. He had wasted 3 days this time. Other than a small reward in number 1 high school, he did not get the big reward. He did not get the 500,000 reward. It would take him some time to gather the resources on his own. He might not be able to break through to rank 3 by the end of this semester. Wang Jinyang exhaled. He was not someone who would worry about personal gains and losses. He would just find some more missions to take on. Carrying his backpack, Wang Jinyang prepared to go home first. He would take the bus back to school at night. Just as he reached the road at the mountain entrance, his phone vibrated in his backpack. Wang Jinyang did not use this phone often. Since he had entered the mountains to catch criminals, he had kept it in his backpack. The vibration was weak. If he was not a martial artist, he would not have felt it. If he was still in the mountains, Wang Jinyang would not have picked it up. Those who knew this phone number were not important people anyway. Since he had nothing else to do, Wang Jinyang opened his backpack and took out his phone. He glanced at the number. It was a local number in Sun City. He did not know if it was from the school or some business owner in Sun City. After some thought, Wang Jinyang answered the call. Brother Wang? Wang Jinyang raised his eyebrows slightly when he heard the voice on the other end of the line. He was not that forgetful. It had only been 2 or 3 days. Even if the voice was a little distorted, Wang Jinyang could still recognize who the other party was. It was the junior who had benefited from the misfortune and increased his vitality. It's me, Junior Fong Ping? Fong Ping went straight to the point. Brother Wang, I have something to trouble you. If it's convenient, can you come back to Sun City for a bit? Wang Jinyang frowned slightly. He did not say that he was still in Sun City. He smiled faintly. I wonder why you're looking for me, Junior Fong Ping. If it's convenient, we can talk on the phone. This is a little troublesome. Actually, I don't know if Brother Wang will help. But Brother Wang is the only martial artist I know. It's not convenient to talk about it over the phone, but I think I met a guy who seems to be a fugitive and accidentally hurt him. There's a little problem now. I don't know if I should hand him over to the police. But I'm afraid that if I hurt him, there will be trouble later. After all, my Gaokao is coming soon. If I miss it, Fong Ping said a few words and did not say anything else. Wang Jinyang would only help if he had nothing better to do. However, Fong Ping did not go into too much detail. His main intention was to ask for help. This was also Fong Ping's little test. He wanted to test Wang Jinyang's temperament and whether he had the ability to settle the trouble later. After Fong Ping finished speaking, Wang Jinyang's brow twitched suddenly. He was very sensitive to the word fugitive. In an instant, he thought of Huang Bin. It was impossible, though. Huang Bin was a peak rank 2 martial artist. Even Wang Jinyang had to be careful if he met him. When Fong Ping said that he had hurt the other party, Wang Jinyang subconsciously eliminated Huang Bin. If he had returned to River City and Nanjiang Martial Arts University, Wang Jinyang would not have interfered. He and Fong Ping were not that close. However, he was in Sun City now. Fong Ping's vitality was not low, so there was hope for him to enter the martial sciences. If everything went smoothly, Wang Jinyang might be admitted to Nanjiang Martial Arts University this year. Doing him a favor was not out of the question. As he thought about this, Wang Jinyang said readily, I think I know what happened. How about this? I'm still in Sun City. Let's find a place, and you can tell me in detail. If it's not too much trouble, I'll help you call the police. He had to go to the Department of Investigation Services. Although he had not caught the person, he still had to give them a heads up. If Fong Ping's matter was not too serious, he could talk to the fatty. If the fatty said something, injuring a fugitive would not be a big deal. Of course, if the matter was troublesome, Wang Jinyang would not be overly involved. He and Fong Ping were not that close. It was already good enough for him to call the police on Fong Ping's behalf. At the staircase of No. 1 High School, Fong Ping hung up the phone with a smile on his face. He did not expect Wang Jinyang to still be in Sun City. This was much more convenient. Also, he did not mention the wealth. He only said that he wanted Wang Jinyang's help. He did not expect Wang Jinyang to agree so readily. At this moment, Fong Ping felt much better. With Wang Jinyang's personality, even if he took the lion's share, he would still leave some soup for Fong Ping. This might be the best outcome so far. I still can't bear to part with it, Fong Ping muttered and shook his head. He could not help it. At this moment, the consequences of taking all the benefits for himself were severe. Fong Ping gritted his teeth at the thought. He must pass the martial sciences exams this time. Chapter 32. At 1:20 p.m. In a milk tea shop near No. 1 Middle School. Fong Ping actually wanted to find a coffee shop, but Sun City's economy was mediocre at this time. He looked around the vicinity of No. 1 High School but did not see any coffee shops. Considering that he was still a student, he chose the milk tea house in the end. Fong Ping had been waiting here for almost half an hour. After finishing another glass of orange juice, Fong Ping raised his head to look outside the door. He suddenly stood up and shouted, Brother Wang, over here. Outside the door, Wang Jinyang smiled and walked toward Fong Ping. Fong Ping stood up hurriedly to welcome him. He ordered a glass of lemon juice from the waitress at the bar counter before inviting Wang Jinyang to sit down with him. Wang Jinyang could not help but smile when he saw this. This junior of his was much more mature than the average high school student. As soon as the two of them sat down, Fong Ping did not mince his words. Brother Wang, I'm actually quite surprised that you could come this time. I called you just to give it a try. I didn't expect Brother Wang to really come. Wang Jinyang wasn't in a hurry to speak. After the waiter served the lemon juice, he smiled and said, "It just so happens to be in Yang City. It's on the way. Also, don't mind me. To be honest, if things are simple, I can help out a little. If the problem is a little troublesome, I'm afraid I won't be able to help much. It's my duty." Fang Ping nodded. This was inevitable. He was not Brother Wang Jinyang's friend. They had only met once. He stopped beating around the bush and went straight to the point. "Brother Wang, I'll be straightforward. What I said on the phone before wasn't a lie. However, the matter is much more complicated than what I said. The guy I injured, if it was just a simple injury, I would have called the police directly. As for the follow-up questions, I don't think it's that difficult. After all, he's a bad guy. Since I caught him, the police should reward me." Wang Jinyang nodded slightly and took a sip of lemon juice. He smiled faintly and said, "Go on. That's not the point. That guy is not simple. He's the same type of person as you, Brother Wang." Wang Jinyang's heart skipped a beat, but he did not speak. Instead, he lifted his head to look at Fang Ping, signaling for him to continue. "That guy was subdued by me and injured. I've hidden him somewhere. I found a lot of good stuff at the scene, the value of which is beyond my imagination. I won't play dumb with Brother Wang. I want to take some for myself, but I'm afraid it won't end well. This is the main reason I asked Brother Wang to come." Wang Jinyang's eyes flickered. His junior was much bolder than he had imagined. The people who were the same as him should be martial artists. He had captured a martial artist and was tempted by the riches. He did not want to hand them over to the police as he was afraid that he would not be able to keep them safe. Wang Jinyang thought for a while and understood why Fang Ping was looking for him. Fang Ping wanted to keep it for himself, but he was afraid that there would be trouble in the future, so he wanted him to take the blame. It was not that this was impossible, but the key was the size of the benefits. Wang Jinyang tapped the table lightly. He was not a stubborn old man. After a moment of silence, he said in a low voice, "I won't ask how you took him down. I'll just ask a few questions first. Are you sure he's someone like me? Second, are you sure it's a bad guy? Thirdly, how valuable is it? Fourth, how are you going to split it?" If the benefits were too small, Wang Jinyang did not plan to interfere. If the other party was a good person, then he would be breaking the law. Even if he did not take Fang Ping to the police station, he would not be in cahoots with Fang Ping. Breaking the law for a bit of money was not something he would do because it was not worth it. Therefore, he had to clarify these things first. "I'm sure he's someone like you. I can't say for sure if he's a bad person, but there's a 90% chance that he's not dead. He even asked me not to take him to the police station. As for how much he'll gain..." Fang Ping stretched out his palm. 500,000? Wang Jinyang lowered his voice. He did not expect it to be 50,000. He was a martial artist. If Fang Ping really wanted such a small amount of money, he would be an idiot to ask him. 10 times. Cough, cough. Wang Jinyang was shocked. 5 million was a huge sum, even to him. 5 million, martial artist. Suddenly, Wang Jinyang's expression changed. It was not that there were no martial artists with 5 million on them. The martial artists in Sun City probably all had that much. Most importantly, Fang Ping had said that the other party was a fugitive. The thoughts that he had cast aside earlier flashed across his mind. Sun City did not have that many martial artists who broke the law. Although martial artists were not rare, Sun City was only a small city. How could there be such a coincidence? A middle-aged man, in his early 40s, about 175 centimeters tall. He looks honest and simple. This was what Wang Jinyang had said. Fang Ping's eyes moved slightly when he heard this. After a while, he nodded and said, "Not bad. Brother Wang, you know him?" Phew. Wang Jinyang was stunned. Who did this kid catch? Are you King kidding me? Was he injured beforehand? No. You're not kidding me, are you? This time, Wang Jinyang said it out loud. If Fang Ping was not lying, then the other party was Huang Bin, a peak rank 2 martial artist who might have even broken through to rank 3. A powerhouse like that had been caught by a high school student? Wang Jinyang believed that Fang Ping would take advantage of him if he was seriously injured. However, An uninjured martial artist who was at least peak rank 2 would be caught by Fong Ping? Seeing his shock, Fong Ping laughed dryly. It was an accident. It was all an accident. Before he could finish, Wang Jinyang stood up abruptly, his eyes bright. Let's go. We'll talk as we walk. Bring me there. He did not ask anymore. He would know the truth when he saw the person in person. As for the matter of splitting the loot, he would wait and see first. All right. Fong Ping was not an irresolute person. At this point, he could only take a gamble. On the way, Wang Jinyang asked a few questions and confirmed that the other party was Huang Bin. Even though Fong Ping had already told him how he had taken down the other party, Wang Jinyang still could not believe it. A peak rank 2 martial artist had been taken down just like that. A few bottles of knockout drugs and a few $100 had taken down a peak rank 2 martial artist. Huang Bin could really go and die. Thinking about himself, his strength was almost on par with Huang Bin's. Did that not mean that if he had been in Huang Bin's shoes, he would have fallen for Fong Ping's trick as well? Just thinking about it made Wang Jinyang shudder. When he looked at Fong Ping again, his expression was a little strange and scary. If word got out, Huang Bin would probably become the biggest joke in the martial arts world. As for Fong Ping, even if he did not become a martial artist, he would still make a name for himself in the small circle. 10 minutes later, the two of them arrived at Lakeview Gardens. Unit 201. Wang Jinyang's eyes twitched as he watched Fong Ping drag Huang Bin out from under the bed like he was dragging a dead dog. It was Huang Bin. Even though the other party's face was covered in blood, Wang Jinyang could still recognize him after seeing his photo. A peak rank 2 martial artist had really fallen at Fong Ping's hands. Wang Jinyang did not rush to look at Huang Bin. He looked at Fong Ping, and for the first time, his tone was so complicated that he could not help but speak. Fong Ping, I've only admired a few people in my life. You're one of them. Amazing. Other than the word amazing, he really could not describe his feelings. Motherf Kerr, a peak rank 2 martial artist, had been beaten like a dead dog by a normal person. If everyone was like Fong Ping, why would they still practice martial arts? Fong Ping laughed dryly. What a surprise. Brother Wang, you know this guy. He's a bad guy, right? Yes, a fugitive. Wang Jinyang did not hide it. He smiled bitterly. A fugitive with 3 lives on his hands. And not just any murder case. The 3 people who died in his hands were 2 rank 1 and 1 rank 2. All 3 of them were martial artists. If those 3 fellows in the underworld knew that you've taken down their enemy, not even their coffins would be able to hold them down. As he said this, Huang Bin, who was lying on the ground, began to struggle violently before Fong Ping could say anything. Right now, Huang Bin was glaring at Fong Ping fiercely. He knew that he was in deep trouble. A guy who could tell him about his past. A guy who was so full of vigor that he felt he was slightly inferior to him. What else could he be other than a martial artist? Falling into Fong Ping's hands and falling into the hands of a martial artist were 2 completely different concepts. This time, he had really fallen into his grandmother's hands. As Huang Bin struggled, Wang Jinyang, who had been friendly with Fong Ping, suddenly gave him a side kick. Fong Ping did not even see him move. All he saw was Huang Bin being kicked far away. Wang Jinyang stared at Huang Bin calmly. He said mildly, I came for you. I chased you around the White Mountains for a few days, but I didn't expect you to be hiding here. Man proposes, God disposes. You managed to avoid me, but now you've fallen here. If I were you, I'd be better off dead than alive. Huang Bin's bloodshot eyes gradually dimmed. Wang Jinyang was right. It was better to fall into Wang Jinyang's hands than to fall into Fong Ping's hands. Wang Jinyang did not bother with him after that. He looked at Fong Ping and asked, what did he bring? Blood and chi replenishing pills, vitality pills, a bone honing pill, and a viscera shielding pill. Fong Ping did not hide anything, but he did not mention the grade. In fact, even if he did not say it, Wang Jinyang could roughly guess. After all, Fong Ping had mentioned the value of the pills and that Huang Bin was preparing to break through to rank 3. Wang Jinyang was in no hurry to speak. He quickly thought about how to split the spoils. At this time, Fong Ping added, he might have some other things on him, but I didn't dare to search him. It was not that he did not dare to search him, but that he had forgotten when he was unconscious. He did not dare to let go of the guy afterward, so naturally, he could not search him. Wang Jinyang's eyes lit up. His breathing quickened as he said, "Before you knocked him out, he probably wasn't prepared, right?" This was actually nonsense. If he had been prepared, Fang Ping would be the one dead now. However, Wang Jinyang was indeed a little excited. After all, Huang Bin had been preparing to break through to rank 3. To break through to rank 3, other than pills, he had to prepare other things. Those were the most valuable items. He did not think about these things before because people like Huang Bin would not leave anything for their opponents, even if they had to destroy something when they were faced with certain death. This time, however, Fang Ping had taken him by surprise. Huang Bin might not have destroyed these things. Otherwise, Fang Ping would not have gotten the pills. Without waiting for Fang Ping to speak, Wang Jinyang walked toward Huang Bin. Chapter 33. A few minutes later, Huang Bin was no longer restrained, but he lay motionless on the ground. Only his chest rose and fell slightly. As for Wang Jinyang, he found something that looked like a piece of jade on the man's body and stuffed it into his pocket. He stood up and walked up to Fang Ping. After some consideration, he said, "You won't be able to use the rank 2 bone honing pill and viscera shielding pill. I'll give you a rank 1 bone honing pill and viscera shielding pill. You can use them when you're breaking through. Of course, the value is quite different." Wang Jinyang looked at him for a while. After some thought, he said, "I can compensate you with 1 million in cash." The combined market price of the rank 2 bone honing pill and viscera shielding pill was 3 million. If they were rank 1 pills, the bone honing pill would cost 500,000, and the viscera shielding pill would cost about 1 million. In other words, Wang Jinyang had taken away 9 million, and he had compensated Fang Ping with 1 million. In reality, he had taken away less than 1 million in resources. However, he could still exchange Huang Bin's resources for the 500,000 bounty. As for whether Sun City's Department of Investigation Services would ask him for these spoils, Wang Jinyang did not even consider it. Huang Bin did not have the chance to ask either. Of course, Wang Jinyang did not mention what he had taken away. When Fang Ping heard that, he did not mention what Wang Jinyang had taken away. He said quickly, "No need, Brother Wang. Doesn't that mean you're taking much less than me?" Wang Jinyang gave him a long look. After a while, he said, "You're a smart man. We'll definitely meet again in the future. There are some things that I'll make clear today, lest we become enemies in the future. Pills and such are not cheap, but I can still afford them. I'm on the verge of breaking through. I can prepare the pills myself, but I'm still lacking something. It's expensive. Even I can't afford it for now. What I took just now is that thing, but you won't be able to use it now. You won't be able to use the rank 2 pills either. If you use them, you'll attract attention, so it's just right for me. Don't worry, though. After I break through, it'll be much easier to gather resources. If you need them in the future, you can come to me. If you agree, you don't have to worry about Huang Bin anymore. Just leave it to me." Actually, Fang Ping was already prepared. He would just pretend that he did not know. However, since Wang Jinyang had said it himself, Fang Ping did not hesitate. He nodded and said, "Then I won't be unreasonable. Without Brother Wang's help, I'm afraid I won't be able to get anything." Ha ha ha, not really. No matter how stingy Yang City was, they still had a reward of 80,000 to 100,000 yuan. But being too eye-catching might not be a good thing. Fang Ping agreed, and Wang Jinyang smiled happily. Fang Ping would not be able to do anything even if he took everything for himself. However, this fellow, a high school student, had plotted to bring down a peak rank 2 martial artist. He was also a ruthless character. If his vitality was not weak and he was courageous enough, the probability of him passing the martial sciences exam was very high. This time, for the sake of a few million, he had pocketed all these items. In the future, he might become Fang Ping's enemy. When he broke through to rank 3, a few million would not be a lot of money. Was it really necessary to offend such a ruthless person for this bit of money? Moreover, he had also gotten what he wanted. It was more and better than he had expected. Fang Ping saw how happy he was. After some thought, he said, "Brother Wang, I don't want the 1 million. I want a basic cultivation method. Cultivation method? Wang Jinyang raised his eyebrows and nodded. Basic cultivation methods aren't worth much. Once you enter martial arts university, everyone will have one. Although it's not allowed to be taught to outsiders, it's not a big deal if you do. Now that you have pills, money, and a cultivation method, it's not a big deal to prepare for breaking through to a martial artist in the future. However, I have to remind you that without guidance, you can easily run into problems if you cultivate recklessly. Of course, if you have any doubts, you can call me. However, I'm going to break through soon, so I might not have much time to answer your questions. After some reminders, Wang Jinyang said no more. Fang Ping was not stupid. Even a fool would not be able to take down Huang Bin. It was enough for him to get the gist of what he wanted. I'll transfer the 1 million to you later. Transfer or cash is fine. I don't have the cultivation method manual with me now. I'll mail it to you when I get back to River City. As for the pills, Fang Ping did not wait for him to finish. He took out 2 bottles containing rank, 2 bone-honing pills and viscera-shielding pills, and passed them to Wang Jinyang. Wang Jinyang did not stand on ceremony. He took the bottles and opened them. His eyes shone with joy. He had the pills and the other necessities. Now, everything was ready. All he had to do was to break through. When he returned to the university, he would apply for some resources. His preparations would be better and better than before. Breaking through to rank 3 had been a little difficult, but now he was very confident. Rank 3 in a year. Thinking of this, Wang Jinyang's eyes shone brighter. How many people in the whole of Nanjiang Martial Arts University, including the seniors, would be able to suppress him? After taking the pills from Fang Ping, Wang Jinyang took out 2 pills from his bag and gave them to Fang Ping. Rank 1 bone-honing pills and viscera-shielding pills. After the 2 of them had discussed the conditions, Wang Jinyang walked to Huang Bin and looked at him for a while. After some thought, he turned to Fang Ping and said, "You can leave now. I'll deal with this guy tonight." Fang Ping hesitated, then said in a low voice, "Sun City, he won't have a chance to speak." Woo-woo, Huang Bin, who had just woken up from his coma, struggled to get up when he heard this. Wang Jinyang ignored him. He clenched his right fist and punched Huang Bin's head, saying mildly, "Murder, resisting arrest, shot dead on the spot." Fang Ping felt a chill in his heart and nodded. He did not look at Huang Bin, nor did he care if he was dead or alive. He picked up the bag he did not take with him and was about to leave. When he was about to leave, Wang Jinyang said suddenly, "After the martial sciences exam, even if you've reached a higher score than Nanjiang Martial Arts University, as long as you're not one of the big 2, it's best to apply to Nanjiang Martial Arts University. If I break through this year, I'll compete for the position of the Martial Arts Society president next semester. If Governor General Zhang breaks through again and increases the university's cultivation resources, I'll take care of you." Fang Ping nodded again. Wang Jinyang was not weak. At least he was not afraid of Huang Bin. According to Fang Ping's analysis, he should be breaking through to rank 3 this time as well. A rank 3 martial artist should not be weak among the students. Having someone he knew to take care of him was indeed better than applying to other martial arts universities. As for the big 2, Fang Ping did not think about it. It was too difficult. Even if he worked hard, the possibility of getting in was not high unless he became a martial artist before the martial sciences exam. It would not matter if his cultural studies were slightly worse. However, there were only 20 days left. Fang Ping did not think he could break through. "Thank you. I think Brother Wang will see me at Nanjiang Martial Arts University next semester." "Okay, I'll wait for you." Outside the door, Fang Ping suppressed his other thoughts and stopped thinking about Huang Bin. This guy was dead meat. As for whether he deserved to die or not, Fang Ping did not think about it. What Wang Jinyang had said earlier had helped Fang Ping understand some things. Martial artists were all fighting for it. Fighting for status, fighting for resources, fighting to become stronger. In order to reap the benefits, Wang Jinyang had no qualms about giving Huang Bin a chance to speak. As for the officials, if Fang Ping took all the benefits, they would ask for it. However, if Wang Jinyang took all the benefits, who would bring it up when there was no concrete evidence and no witnesses? The difference was due to the difference in strength and status between the 2 parties. Without strength and status, one would not have the right to speak. Fong Ping shook his head and pushed these thoughts aside. He began to calculate his gains this time. 18 blood and chi replenishing pills, 8 normal vitality pills, 3 rank, 1 vitality pills, 1 rank, 1 bone honing pill, and 1 viscera shielding pill. Other than that, Huang Bin had more than 200,000 in cash. Wang Jinyang would transfer 1 million to him and a cultivation manual. The total market value of the pills was as high as 34 million. 2 million in cash. Even excluding the cultivation manual, Fong Ping's gains this time were as high as 5 million. Killing and arson. Gold belt. Fong Ping mumbled. He had not even killed anyone yet, but he had already gotten so much money in one go. These were not all of Fong Ping's gains. Just now, Fong Ping realized that his wealth had changed. Wealth, 2403800 vitality, 1. 2 mentality, 1. It was a strange wealth. Even without the 1 million that Wang Jinyang had yet to transfer, according to Fong Ping's calculations, it should be around 5 million. Now, however, he had lost 1 million. Fong Ping guessed that the system calculated the relative value. The market value of these pills was around 3 million, but it did not mean that they were really worth that much. Before Fong Ping sold them and exchanged them for cash, the value of the pills was not fixed. For people like Wang Jinyang, it was much cheaper to buy them from the university. As for casual martial artists, it was much more expensive to buy them through other channels. Therefore, the system calculated the relative value and not the market price. The value of the pills had been deducted by 1/3. If that was the case, it should be about right. It's an assembly line product, but it pretends to be an intelligent product. Bad review. Fong Ping mumbled, but his face was full of joy. 4 million wealth. If he added the 1 million that Wang Jinyang had transferred, even Fong Ping himself did not expect that he would obtain so many wealth points in such a short time. Chapter 34. Fong Ping was excited about his gains. Then, his expression changed, and he hurriedly picked up his bag and walked home. Room 101. In the small room, Fong Ping's expression was bitter. He cursed in his heart, "I knew you weren't reliable. You really are. Don't tell me he got greedy and pocketed my wealth." Just now, just as he was getting excited, the 3 lines of data in his vision suddenly disappeared. It was very sudden. It was like a power outage. Nothing could be seen. Fong Ping felt that there was something wrong with this broken system when it did not give him an instruction manual. Now, he had finally collected more than 2 million wealth points. He hadn't even had the chance to enjoy it when it was all gone. If this wasn't an attempt to run away with the money, what else could it be? Fong Ping cursed in his heart, but he refused to give up. He widened his eyes and stared at the black screen in front of him. Just as Fong Ping's eyes were about to burst into tears, the blackened panel in his vision flashed. Soon, the 3 rows of data appeared again. Only then did Fong Ping heave a sigh of relief. He rubbed his eyes and cursed in his heart. "You can just King level up. Can't you at least inform me? Are you trying to scare me?" Fong Ping was getting more and more dissatisfied with this broken system. It was one thing that he did not have an instruction manual, but to appear and disappear as he pleased. Who did he think he was? Cursing aside, Fong Ping still focused on the 3 rows of data that had just appeared. Wealth, 2403800 vitality, 121 cal mentality, 110 hertz. It wasn't a big change, just a change in data. A small vitality measuring machine has become a large vitality chamber? Fong Ping secretly calculated the effects of such a change. The most basic point was that it saved the cost of going to the hospital for a checkup. The upgrade this time was probably because his wealth had reached a certain level, and it had upgraded from the basic version to the precise version. Very quickly, Fong Ping thought of a second use. The previous increments were all based on 0. 1. 10,000 wealth points could increase 10 calories of vitality. Now, can you increase your wealth by 1,000 points by 1 calorie? After some thought, Fong Ping decided that he should give it a try. He hesitated no more. Now that he was rich, he did not care about 1,000 wealth. He silently thought about increasing his vitality by 1 calorie. Soon, The data in front of him changed. Wealth, 2402800 vitality, 122 cal mentality, 110 hertz as expected. Fong Ping was overjoyed. It could work. The new data was not as simple as saving the cost of a vitality check. Instead, it allowed Fong Ping to understand the condition of his body more directly. For example, every time Fong Ping leveled up, it was in units of 10 calories. Last time, his body almost couldn't meet the requirements and he was in so much pain that he wanted to die. That was because he had advanced too much at once, causing his body to be unable to keep up. Things were different now. Fong Ping could not feel it too strongly with the increase of 1 calorie. He could control his body more effectively and avoid situations where his blood vessels burst. Other than that, Fong Ping quickly thought of another benefit. It would be more effective in preventing the secret from being discovered. A martial artist like Wang Jinyang would be able to sense the difference very quickly if his vitality increased by 10 calories in one go. Just like before, Fong Ping had no choice but to find an excuse to fool them. If it was an increase of 1 or 2 cal, the increase would not be too obvious, and Wang Jinyang would not have noticed it. Fortunately, Fong Ping did not come into contact with many martial artists. Currently, Wang Jinyang was the only one. However, once he entered a martial arts university, there would be many martial artists by his side. In the end, you disappeared for one night and suddenly increased your vitality by 10 calories. It was normal for people to find out that something was wrong. If 10 calories was converted to a week or 10 days, and he slowly increased it, the probability of finding out was not high. Fong Ping was very satisfied after he thought it through. The effect of the upgrade this time was not bad. Even the units could be instantiated. This is a good thing. At least it's reliable. Fong Ping praised the system in his heart. He could not help but curse in his heart. It was also a money-hungry thing. When he had no money, it did not even give him an instruction manual. He had to figure everything out by himself. Now that his wealth had increased, even the specific units were displayed. What a snob. The data reappeared, but Fong Ping was not in a hurry to increase his mentality. Wang Jinyang was still upstairs. If he increased it now, any abnormalities would be easily discovered. It would not be too late to make use of him after he left. Considering that Wang Jinyang was upstairs and that there was also a dead man above him, Fong Ping was a little nervous. He did not stay at home for long. After hiding the cash, Fong Ping took the pills with him and went to school with his backpack. On his way, Fong Ping was still thinking about whether to buy a house or rent it. His house was too small. His parents were fine. They usually would not go into his room to look around. That unreliable Fong Yuan, however, was too curious. From time to time, she would go into his room to look for snacks, comic books, fun toys. In short, that girl was interested in everything. Now, including the 20,000 his parents had given him, he had a total of more than 220,000 in cash in his room. Although he had hidden it, 220,000 was not a piece of paper. It would be hard to say if that girl found it. I have to get a bank card later, Fong Ping muttered. After all, Wang Jinyang's 1 million had not been transferred to him. He had to get a card as soon as possible, lest that guy forgot about it when he went back to break through in seclusion. Next, he would cultivate his cultivation methods and train his body. His house was not good either. He could not always train in the yard. When he had no money, Fong Ping did not think about this. Now that he had money, it was necessary to get a secret nest for himself. Rent or buy a house. Making a mental note of this, Fong Ping planned to look for one this Sunday. After spending the whole afternoon in school, Fong Ping hurried home after school. He was a little worried. He was still hiding the cash in his house, and he was afraid that Fong Yuan would find it. However, when he reached his house, Fong Ping's face turned green. Compared to Fong Yuan finding the money, something worse seemed to have happened. In the corridor, in front of Fong Ping's house, someone Fong Ping did not expect to see was standing there. It was Wang Jinyang. Although Wang Jinyang said that he would leave at night, Fong Ping thought that the guy would not go out during the day. Who would have thought that he would walk out of his house in broad daylight? If Wang Jinyang was alone, Fong Ping would not have minded. However, Wang Jinyang was chatting with Fong Yuan. Fong Ping felt a headache coming on. He hurried over. Wang Jinyang, who was talking, saw Fang Ping and nodded with a smile. Fang Yuan, on the other hand, was grinning from ear to ear. The moment she saw Fang Ping, she said happily, "Fang Ping, you're back?" "Yes, what are you guys doing?" "Fang Ping, don't you think it's a coincidence that I bumped into Senior Wang?" Fang Yuan was very excited. Then, she asked curiously, "Don't you know him?" Fang Ping's expression turned bitter. Of course he knew him. More importantly, why were the two of them chatting together? "And that bastard Wang Jinyang. Why did you come downstairs instead of guarding the corpses obediently?" Fang Yuan could not hide her words. She ignored Fang Ping's confusion and said happily, "I bumped into Senior Wang outside when I came back just now." "Fang Ping, I didn't expect Senior Wang to have relatives staying here. If it wasn't for my classmate showing off Senior Wang's autographed photo to me yesterday, I wouldn't have recognized him. I said it was a pity that I didn't bump into Senior Wang. I didn't expect to bump into him today." "Fang Ping, you lied to me last time, saying that Senior Wang had left." Fang Ping's face turned even greener. It was because he had told a lie that he thought was perfect. He thought that his family would not have any contact with Wang Jinyang in the future, so he said that Wang Jinyang was the one who sold him the pills. If his sister brought it up now, he would be exposed. However, judging by Fang Yuan's excited expression, she probably did not have the time to bring it up. Fang Ping said hurriedly, "Don't disturb Brother Wang. He's busy. Go inside first." Fang Yuan's joyful expression fell instantly. She mumbled, "No, Senior Wang didn't say he was busy. Go back. Don't embarrass me, your brother." Fang Ping scolded her hurriedly. Then, he laughed dryly at Wang Jinyang. "My sister insisted that I get your autograph last time. She even said that she could sell a few hundred for some money." Fang Ping could only change the topic now. Wang Jinyang could not help but laugh when he heard that. Fang Yuan glared at Fang Ping, gritting her teeth. What a jerk. She had even planned to ask Wang Jinyang for an autograph later. Now that her brother had said that, the little girl was too embarrassed to admit it. She shook her head at Wang Jinyang hurriedly. Then, she opened the door and entered the house quickly. "You guys talk. I'm going to do my homework." Bang! The sound of the door closing was loud. The little girl was obviously angry that Fang Ping had ruined her plan. Fang Ping did not know whether to laugh or cry. He could not help but look at Wang Jinyang. Why was this guy out in broad daylight? As if reading his mind, Wang Jinyang chuckled. "Don't be nervous. I'm not a bad guy. If it weren't for the fact that I'm worried that people would be scared to see me in broad daylight, I could even carry it out right now." Fang Ping laughed dryly and did not say anything. It was rare for Wang Jinyang to explain. "I don't have a duffel bag. It's not convenient. I went out to buy a duffel bag and some fast food." He even waved the fast food in his hand at Fang Ping. When he mentioned a duffel bag, Fang Ping did not need to think to know what it was for. However, when he mentioned fast food, Fang Ping's scalp went numb. Was there something wrong with this guy? You might as well finish eating outside. Why did you buy fast food? Don't forget, there's a corpse upstairs. Fang Ping thought that this guy was a little perverted when he thought about how he was enjoying Huang Bin's corpse while eating. Wang Jinyang did not feel that way. He chuckled. "I met your sister on the way. She's quite an interesting girl." "Don't you dare have any ideas about my sister," Fang Ping blurted out. Wang Jinyang was stunned for a moment. Then, the corner of his mouth twitched. "You're a siscon, aren't you?" "Of course. Motherf asterisk cur. There are tons of pretty girls chasing after me in martial arts universities. There are even more from other schools. Beautiful instructors, class belle, rich heiresses. Since when did he, Wang Jinyang, stoop so low as to hit on a little girl?" Fang Yuan had recognized him earlier and chattered to him like they were old friends. Wang Jinyang only thought it was interesting. Since they were going the same way, Wang Jinyang did not avoid her. However, this Fang Ping dared to question his character. Wang Jinyang looked at Fang Ping unkindly. Fang Ping looked embarrassed. It was a habit, just a habit. In his past life, there were many guys who had ideas about his sister. Fang Ping had helped Fang Yuan deal with them many times. When Wang Jinyang said this just now, he subconsciously said this. They stared at each other for a moment. Wang Jinyang laughed and said, I'll leave tonight. I'm going back to martial arts university tomorrow. I hope it won't be too long before we meet again. You're very interesting. Bold, meticulous, ruthless, and knew when to give and take. That was Wang Jinyang's impression of Fang Ping. That was why Wang Jinyang was quite interested in Fang Ping. He wanted to know if the guy would do something more interesting after he became a martial artist. Fang Ping smiled and nodded without saying anything else. Wang Jinyang did not stay for long. He carried the fast food and went upstairs slowly. After he left, Fang Ping exhaled softly. Wang Jinyang was a martial artist after all. No matter how friendly he appeared, Fang Ping still felt pressured. In the dead of night, when he heard the faint sound of the door closing upstairs, Fang Ping, who was pretending to read in his room, mumbled, He's finally gone. Wang Jinyang did not leave, so he felt pressured. There was still more than 220,000 in cash at home. Fang Ping took more than 20,000 and carried it with him. The remaining 200,000 yuan was still in his room. He was worried that this lass had nothing to do at home and would go to his room to explore his secrets, so he sent her away first. When he was on holiday tomorrow, he would deal with the cash. Whether it was buying a house or saving it in the bank, he couldn't just leave it at home. Fang Ping took out $100. To him, it was very, very little. However, for Fang Yuan, she had never received so much pocket money before. Other than during Chinese New Year, the little girl had never had more than $100 on her. Today, her stingy older brother had given her $100 to go out and play. The sun has risen from the west. Fang Yuan looked shocked. She could not help but ask, Fang Ping, you haven't recovered from your illness from yesterday? Fang Ping's expression darkened. He said impatiently, Do you want it or not? So you've done something bad. Are you trying to bribe me? If you don't want it, I'll take it back. I want it. Fang Yuan snatched the bill from Fang Ping's hand, her face full of joy. Then, she chattered, Did Mom give it to you? Mom's so biased. She always gives you more than me. Fang Ping, you really gave it to me? You're not going to go back later, are you? How about I give you $10 for lunch? Fang Ping pretended not to hear her and continued to eat his breakfast. When he was done, Fang Ping grabbed his bag and stood up. I'm going out for a walk to relax. Have a good lunch. Oh, you're not allowed to go out with boys. Only girls. Pfft. Why do you have to go out with boys? Fang Yuan looked at him as if she was determined to go against him. Fang Ping did not mind. He pursed his lips and said, I was just saying, which boy in your class is willing to go out with round face? It's not embarrassing enough. Fang Ping, one should not hit someone in the face, and one should not expose their shortcomings when scolding someone. However, Fang Ping had exposed their shortcomings. Fang Yuan was so angry that she wanted to smack him on the head. After teasing Fang Yuan for a while, Fang Ping grabbed his bag and walked out the door cheerfully before the little girl exploded in anger. Number 1 High School. Senior 3 Class 4. It had to be said that the martial science candidates were very hardworking. At least, they came to school early. Fang Ping realized that every time he came, the other martial science exam candidates would have already arrived. The moment he arrived, he heard loudmouth Zhang Hao say excitedly, Zhobin went for a vitality test yesterday. 125 calories. That's amazing. Maybe someone from number 1 high school will get into the Big 2 this year. Last year, the Big 2's admission standard was 125 calories, right? Zhang Hao asked. Big Beard Yang Jian nodded quickly and said, Magic City Martial Arts University's admission standard was 125 calories last year. Zhang Hao naturally knew that. He had only asked this to get someone to cooperate with him. When he heard this, he smiled quickly and said, There's still some time before the physical assessment. Take another vitality pill before the exam. I suspect that Zhobin's vitality test result will be 128 calories. God, can Zhobin really get into the Big 2? If he does, number 1 high school will be famous. Zhang Hao danced with joy. He was as excited as if his vitality had reached 125 calories. The other martial science candidates were either envious or nervous. Most of the normal social sciences candidates were envious, but they were not nervous. It had nothing to do with them anyway. Fang Ping, on the other hand, did not feel much when he walked in. Zhou Bin was the most powerful candidate in number 1 high school, but his vitality was only 125 calories. Fang Ping, on the other hand, had 124 calories. The difference between them was only 1 calorie, almost negligible. Fang Ping also had a lot of wealth. If his body could keep up, surpassing the other would be child's play. In reality, Fang Ping did not want to compete with these students at all. He was thinking about Wang Jinyang. Wang Jinyang was only 1 year older than him, but he was already preparing to break through to rank 3. Compared to Wang Jinyang, these year 3 students would not attract Fang Ping's attention no matter how high their vitality was. Fang Ping ignored their discussion. He picked up his book and started reading. He had been too tired the night before. He did not even have time to test the effects of his mentality increase. Vitality was not a problem for him to pass the martial sciences exams. Fang Ping's difficulty lay in his cultural studies. If his mentality increase was effective, it would be the foundation for him to pass the martial sciences exams. Fang Ping did not want to join the discussion, but Yang Jian, who was sitting in front of him, could not help but turn around and ask, "Fang Ping, how many cal is your vitality now?" "I don't know. I didn't check it." Yang Jian was itching to know, but he did not really want to ask Fang Ping how much. Hearing Fang Ping's words, Yang Jian smiled sheepishly and said, "Last night, my dad insisted that I go to the hospital to check it out. I went with him, and my vitality increased by 1 calorie. It's 113 calories now." Fang Ping rolled his eyes. If he wanted to show off, then show off. Could he not smile sheepishly like an idiot? "Fang Ping, do you think I can reach 115 calories if I take some medicine during the physical assessment?" "Fang Ping, you're probably higher than me. Why don't you go for the test tomorrow?" Fang Ping's head hurt. This bearded man was too talkative. He did not listen to his nonsense. Fang Ping lowered his head and started reading, experiencing the effects of his mentality increase. After the morning reading session, Fang Ping closed his book and closed his eyes to think. The effects were not bad. Fang Ping did not know if 140 Hz mentality was considered powerful. The effects were obvious, though. His brain was exceptionally clear and active. Fang Ping had learned all the high school knowledge before. His results were not bad, so this could be considered revision. However, he had put it aside for many years. Revision was a process that required time. Now, however, Fang Ping's ability to understand and accept the knowledge he had learned was much stronger than a few days ago. He could recall much of the knowledge he had forgotten. This was still 140 Hz. After a few days, when he had gotten used to his current mentality, he would make some more improvements. When that time came, the effects would be even better. Fang Ping felt that he had already moved the last brick in the martial sciences exams. For the entire morning, Fang Ping absorbed the new and old knowledge hungrily. During his lunch break, Fang Ping went out for a while. He spent $10 on a bank card. He spent 1,200 yuan to buy a mobile phone and 100 yuan to get a SIM card. Without a cell phone, it was inconvenient to do many things. The first thing Fang Ping did after getting his cell phone and activating the SIM card was to text Wang Jinyang. Nanjiang Martial Arts University. Wang Jinyang, who had just arrived at the university, saw the string of numbers on his phone screen and laughed. This guy is interesting. Fang Ping had been so polite yesterday that he did not want the 1 million. Even if he wanted it, there was no hurry. Brother Wang could transfer the money whenever he was free. All in all, his words were very pleasant. However, less than a day had passed, and the guy had already sent him his card number. After laughing for a while, Wang Jinyang did not want to go back on his word. He went to the university bank and completed the transfer. In martial arts universities, 1 million was not a lot. It was not uncommon for the internal banks of martial arts universities to have hundreds of millions of transactions every day. After settling the matter of money, Wang Jinyang packed some of his teaching materials and a basic cultivation method book and sent it to Fang Ping by courier. He was not worried about losing it. It was fine even if he did. Without the foundation, cultivating recklessly would be suicide. At most, he would send Fang Ping another copy. Far away in Sun City, Fang Ping saw the notification on his phone. He could not contain his joy. How bright! Old Wang was indeed a straightforward person, even though the guy might have earned more than him this time. Chapter 36. After receiving Wang Jinyang's transfer of 1 million, Fang Ping's wealth had reached 37 million. Even if he increased his mentality and vitality to 200, it would only cost him a few 100,000 wealth. Fang Ping was overjoyed. Of course, his joy did not last long. Soon, Fang Ping felt an invisible wave of malice. How can a snob make me feel so good? Fang Ping muttered to himself. He felt that the source of this malice was the unreliable snobbish system. Although it was only intuition, Fang Ping felt that intuition was still very reliable. Fang Ping was overjoyed at the increase in his wealth and funds. Fang Ping was looking forward to Wang Jinyang's subsequent text. The item has been delivered. Make sure to receive it. It was a short sentence, but Fang Ping read it again and again. Compared to money, Fang Ping was more interested in cultivation methods. It was not like he did not have money in his past life. Although it was not much, Fang Ping had earned quite a lot over the years. However, Fang Ping had never seen any cultivation methods other than those sold at street stalls. Even if he saw one, he would not cultivate it. No one would take it seriously. Fang Ping could not wait to get his hands on the package when he thought about the day after tomorrow. After school in the afternoon, Fang Ping rejected Wu Zhihao and the others' invitation to train together. Fang Ping was still familiarizing himself with his body and digesting what he had learned. Working out with them didn't help much. Fang Ping walked away alone. One of the students from class 4 said uncomfortably, "Fang Ping is quite arrogant." Wu Zhihao did not mind. He smiled and said, "It's fine if he doesn't want to go. He never joined our activities before. He's probably used to it." After he said that, the others did not say anything else. The student who had spoken earlier asked curiously, "Zhihao, how high do you think his vitality is?" Everyone knew that Fang Ping's vitality had increased again. After all, Yang Jian was the only one who could not keep his mouth shut among the other three. Even Wang Jinyang had praised Fang Ping, so his vitality was not low. Wu Zhihao thought for a moment and said, "Maybe around 120 calories, that high?" Some of them looked envious, even jealous. Fang Ping had not been eye-catching before, but they did not expect his vitality to be 120 calories. Out of all the senior 3 martial science students in the school, only Zhou Bin and a top student from another elite class had a vitality of more than 120 calories. As for whether or not someone was concealing their strength, such a thing rarely happened. They were all students. Showing off was a common problem among students. It would be foolish to hide such a good result. "I'm just guessing, but the difference shouldn't be that big." Wu Zhihao looked at the others and said, "But it's best if we don't learn it. Otherwise, we won't even know how we die." Even if he could not pass the martial sciences exams, it was better than losing his life. "If I can't get in now, I'll just have to repeat a year. If I still can't make it, I'll just wait until I earn enough money to go to a martial arts training class." Everyone nodded. None of them had the guts to risk their lives to fight for an opportunity at this time. Naturally, Fang Ping was unaware of the discussion going on in class. Arrogance? He didn't think he was arrogant. It was just that he wasn't too familiar with those students. Moreover, the martial science examination was just around the corner. They did not even know if they would have the chance to interact with each other in the future, so there was not much use in trying to establish a relationship now. Lakeview Gardens. As soon as Fang Ping opened the door, Fang Yuan tiptoed out from her room and said softly, "Fang Ping, come in." Fang Ping did not know whether to laugh or cry. He was speechless. "You're a thief in your own home?" "Shoo." Fang Yuan raised a finger to her lips and shushed him. She turned around cautiously to look at the backyard and said angrily, "Come in." Fang Ping could not help but laugh. He changed his shoes and entered his sister's room. Once inside, Fang Yuan closed the door hurriedly and stuffed a plastic bag into Fang Ping's arms. Before Fang Ping could check it, Fang Yuan said in a low voice, "I'll give you half. Don't ask me for money. I've exchanged $100 for food reserves. It's gone. Also, don't tell Mom. What if? I don't want my allowance this month. I'll give it all to you." Fang Ping did not say anything. He took the plastic bag and opened it. It was full of snacks. Fang Yuan was not generous with her money, but it was inevitable that children liked to eat snacks. Her parents rarely bought snacks for her. It was a waste of money and unhealthy for her body. In the past, whenever Fang Yuan had some pocket money, she would spend it on this. It was rare for her brother to be generous. Fang Yuan, who had $100 in her pocket, had only planned to buy snacks worth about $10. However, the girl's eyes blurred the moment she stepped into the snack shop. When she paid the bill, she realized that she had spent almost all of her $100, even though she had reduced her snacks by half. Afraid that Fang Ping would say she was wasteful, the girl thought about it for a long time and finally decided to split the spoils with her brother. Half for each of them. There should be no problem now, right? Fang Ping could not help but laugh when he saw how guilty she was. Fine, I'll buy them. I don't eat them. I'll give them all to you. No. Although the girl kept staring at the plastic bag in Fang Ping's hand, she still shook her head resolutely. I'll give you half, or you'll tell on me. Do I have to do that? Fang Ping rolled his eyes. What kind of person do you think your brother is, girl? I'm filthy rich now. $100 is nothing to me. Moreover, Fang Ping was not a child. He did not have the habit of eating snacks. Fang Ping tossed the bag of snacks onto the bed and laughed. Keep it for yourself. I've earned some money recently. If you run out of pocket money, you can ask me for it. Some things needed to be divulged appropriately. Now that Fang Ping had bought a phone, he would have to rent or buy a house the next day. His parents were not at home most of the time, so there was no risk of him being exposed. Fang Yuan was different. She was always with Fang Ping, so divulging some information now could serve as a foundation. Fang Yuan asked curiously, You've earned money? Yes. How much? Don't ask me that. I'm not short of money right now anyway. How did you earn it? Did you work? No. Then you. Suddenly, Fang Yuan thought of something. She bared her fangs and brandished her claws, ready to fight Fang Ping. Fang Ping, you're too much. You must have asked Wang Jinyang for his autograph and then sold it, right? That was my idea. I was wondering why you wouldn't let me talk to Wang Jinyang yesterday. So this was your plan. You're a villain, stealing the fruits of my labor. Fang Yuan was furious. She had been so grateful to her brother in the morning, and he had given her a huge sum of 100 yuan. He had used her idea and made a lot of money. Fang Ping was speechless. This girl's imagination was really good. He did not want to deny it, though. Since the girl was thinking that way, he would let her think it herself. Moreover, the money she made this time was indeed related to Wang Jinyang. Fang Ping did not deny it, so Fang Yuan thought that she had guessed correctly. She said with an annoyed expression, Tell me the truth. How much did you sell it for? Not much. 1,000. Fang Yuan asked tentatively. Haha. 2,000. Haha. Fang Yuan inhaled sharply. No wonder her brother was so generous. He had earned more than 2,000. After a moment of shock, Fang Yuan's eyes darted around. Soon, she smiled and said, Brother, how about we split it 50-50? Oh, did I hear that right? What did you call me just now? Fang Ping dug his ears, pretending that he did not hear it clearly. Brother, I said 50-50, okay? If not, 40-60 is fine too. The girl did not look embarrassed at all. He was her brother. After all, calling him brother would not cost her anything. Once she got her hands on Fang Ping's money, she would call him whatever she wanted. Fang Ping laughed. He waved his hand and said, Don't get your hopes up. Besides, why do you need so much money? I'll give it to you when you run out of money. Also, please me in the future. Don't call me Fang Ping so impudently. Fang Yuan was not happy that she could not split the money with her brother. However, considering that her brother was rich now, in the end, she smiled sweetly and nodded. She had made up her mind that she would empty her brother's coffers sooner or later. Fang Yuan was very friendly to Fang Ping, so much so that she even put food in his bowl. Her parents, who were eating with her, were stunned by the change in the girl. Although the two siblings had a good relationship, it was normal for them to argue. Since when did Fang Yuan learn to put food in Fang Ping's bowl? Fang Mingrong was a little jealous. He stopped drinking and knocked on his empty bowl. glancing at Fong Yuan a few times. He was obviously saying, "You're putting food in your brother's bowl. What about me?" Fong Yuan was a clever girl. When she saw her father's unfriendly attitude, she smiled sweetly and put food in his bowl. She also filled Li Yueying's bowl with rice. The atmosphere at dinner was very good because of her antics. The dinner was not too sumptuous, but the family ate happily. The family was happy, and Fong Ping was in a good mood. When he trained at night, Fong Ping did 160 push-ups in one go, even though he could only do 100 times the day before. After he was done, Fong Yuan, who had been watching over him, almost cheered him on. Flattery was one thing. Fong Yuan thought that her brother was pretty awesome. Chapter 37. The next day, Sunday, Fong Ping, who had woken up early, did not try to trick his sister again. He knocked on the door on purpose. He washed up and changed into a set of slightly more mature clothes. Then, he stuffed all the cash he had hidden in his room into his backpack. Today, he was going to check out a house. It would be best if it had a gym. If it was cheap, he would buy one. If it was expensive, he would rent one. His house was too small, and he did not have any equipment. Fong Ping only had a few sets for his workout. Without the assistance of equipment, there were some movements that he couldn't do by himself. On top of that, he was about to get his hands on the cultivation method. He needed to find a more suitable environment to cultivate in. The downtown area of Sun City was not too big. Fong Ping did not want to buy a house in the suburbs. It was too far from number 1 high school and his house. It was inconvenient. Therefore, he could only choose a residential area that was not far from number 1 middle school in Lakeview Gardens. The neighborhood had to be new, and it would be best if it was well renovated, so that he wouldn't have to renovate it himself. If he couldn't buy a deluxe room, a second-hand one would do. The environment must be good, and the housing must be cheap. With that in mind, Fong Ping did not have many choices. 7 or 8 minutes later. Scenic Lake Gardens. Scenic Lake Gardens was not far from number 1 middle school in Lakeview Gardens. It was located in the middle of the two and was slightly inclined. The residential area was officially opened in 2006, and residents only moved in 2007. It had been 2 years since the opening of the market, but the houses in Scenic Lake Gardens had not been sold out yet, and the sales department was still there. It was not sold out, not because the environment was bad, but because the quality was not good. The main reason was that the demand for houses in Yang City was not that high at this time. In 2008, houses in big cities were in short supply, and real estate groups were not uncommon. However, Sun City was just a small city in the central region. Very few people would come to Sun City to speculate in real estate. It was not worth it. Real estate sales department. When Fong Ping walked through the door, it was very quiet inside. There was almost no one around. After all, the market had been open for 2 years, and the remaining houses were only some unfinished houses, so there weren't many of them. The employees who were chatting inside paused for a moment when they saw Fong Ping enter. After a while, a woman in her 20s wearing professional attire walked over. "Sir, which one do you like? If you want to see a house, I can accompany you." The staff member was quite friendly and did not mind Fong Ping's age. It was normal for someone of Fong Ping's age to be preparing for marriage. Since they were married, they naturally needed a wedding house. 2 of them had been sold, and the remaining 2 were still empty. After the sales lady finished her introduction, Fong Ping said immediately, "Bring me there." "Okay, I'll get the key. Please wait for a moment." The sales lady was straightforward. She hurried to the counter to get the key, her heart filled with anticipation. Although Fong Ping was a man of few words and was young, people like him, who made a clear request before looking for a house, usually bought a house without hesitation as long as the price was right. The prerequisite was that he had money. A few minutes later, Fong Ping and the sales lady arrived at the top floor of Building 9. When the sales lady opened the door, Fong Ping felt that it was not bad as soon as he entered. There was plenty of light, and the layout was reasonable. It did not have the cramped feeling of a typical duplex. Some duplexes were designed to reduce the public space and maximize the use of it. The public space was very small, giving off a cramped and oppressive feeling as soon as one entered. The bigger the city, The more prosperous the residential area, the more it was like this. After all, the public space was only counted as the square footage of the first floor, not the size of the property ownership certificate. Duplexes with empty spaces were rarer the bigger the city. The duplexes that most people talked about were only double stories. The property prices in small cities like Sun City were not too high. Naturally, it was more suitable for living. Although it was said to be intricately decorated, it was actually just the flooring, walls, doors, and windows. There was nothing else. On the first floor was the living room, dining room, kitchen, bathroom, a bedroom, and a balcony that was not considered small. On the second floor were 2 bedrooms, a small study, a room that could be used as a gym, and a bathroom. Other than the empty space in the living room, which was not counted as a 2-story building, all the rooms in the duplexes were counted as actual space. Fong Ping looked at it briefly and was quite satisfied. Although the decorations were simple, Fong Ping did not need to be too extravagant. He would not stay in Sun City for long. When he went to a martial arts university, the house would naturally be left to his parents. For now, it was fine as long as it was livable. Moreover, this place had been renovated for more than a year. The smell was not even needed. After looking around, Fong Ping went straight to the point. "How much is it?" "Sir, you have good taste." The sales lady praised Fong Ping first, then said immediately, "Unit 2601 is the best unit in our residential area. We don't count the empty space, so it's a free gift to you. Also, our duplexes in scenic lake gardens are different from other residential areas. Many residential areas are called duplexes, but they're just attics with very low floor heights. Adding the 2 floors together, a floor height of 3 to 4 meters is considered normal, and the space is oppressive. We're different. We follow the normal floor height layout, and the 2 floors have a ceiling height of 5.8 meters. The sales lady belittled the duplexes in other residential areas and praised scenic lake gardens for a while. She was not belittling them, but she had to make things clear before she quoted a price. The 2 duplexes in scenic lake gardens could not be sold because of the price. Many people were satisfied with the apartments, but when it came time to buy them, they had a lot of problems. Other residential areas did not count the 2-story area, and other residential areas were cheaper. Now that Fong Ping was asking about the price, she naturally had to prepare in advance. After praising herself for a while, the sales lady finally got to the point. The area of the property is 186 square meters. The empty space is a gift to you. If we calculate it according to a normal 2-story building, the area is more than 230 square meters. The price is very good too. If you buy it now, we'll refund the deed tax and maintenance fund. Also, we're a deluxe unit. If you renovate it yourself, the renovation cost would be hundreds of thousands. But now, we're the last unit, and the company hopes to sell it as soon as possible. The discount is even better. After trying to fool Fong Ping for a while, the sales lady felt a little defeated when she saw Fong Ping's indifference. Finally, she lowered her voice when she mentioned the price. The total price is $860,000. In 2008, $860,000 to buy a house in Sun City was not cheap at all. With that much money, one could buy a small villa in the suburbs. On average, it was more than $4,600 per square meter. The price of a house nearby was usually between 3,500 to 4,000 yuan. Even if it was a deluxe unit, this level of renovation was not too expensive. If it was 4,000 per square meter, the house would have been sold a long time ago. However, above 4,600, even if it was a duplex with an empty space, few people would be willing to buy it. After giving the price, the sales lady said hurriedly, "Sir, the one next to it is slightly smaller. The layout is similar to this one." Fong Ping waved his hand. It was his habit to spend money when he had it. At the moment, he had sufficient cultivation resources and did not have to worry about money. Now that he had money, he would, of course, enjoy it first. Fong Ping thought that this unit was not bad. After the renovation, 4,600 per square meter was relatively expensive. However, the neighborhood's environment was good, and the house type was not bad. He could afford the price. Compared to Wu Jihao's duplex, the one he was looking at was bigger, and the layout was more reasonable. Plus, money came easily. Fong Ping went out directly, just when the sales lady was a little disappointed. Chapter 38. The Sales Department. After confirming Fang Ping's intention to buy a house, the sales department's supervisor personally attended to him. Scenic Lake Gardens had been open for 2 years now. There were not many houses left, and the developers did not want to waste too much energy here. Especially for a full payment, the discount was not small. Full payment, 95% discount. Deed tax and maintenance fund were all exempted. After some calculations, the supervisor made the final decision, looking as if he had suffered a great loss. He said harshly, "Mr. Fang, pay 20% of the deposit now, and I can apply to the higher-ups for a discount. Mr. Fang, you only have to pay 810,000 to get the house." 810,000, 186 square meters, hardcover. It was about 4,350 yuan per square meter. Even if it was cheaper for the developers to renovate, utilities, flooring, and walls alone were not cheap. In reality, the price was less than 4,000 yuan per square meter. The price of a duplex was not high. It was not expensive even when compared to the average residential area. End houses were cheap to begin with, and duplexes were slightly larger if they included the second floor. The rich in Sun City now lived in villas in the suburbs. There was no shortage of ordinary families willing to pay more than 800,000 yuan for a house in big cities, but there were very few customers in small cities. Even if they wanted to buy a duplex, people in Sun City preferred to buy the double-story houses that did not include the second floor. Fang Ping was distracted when the supervisor quoted the price. Right now, Fang Ping was thinking about Huang Bin. 3 rank, 1 vitality pills for 900,000. 3 rank, 1 vitality pills were just daily vitality supplements for a peak rank 2 martial artist like Huang Bin. If he was extravagant, he would have them in a month. If he was frugal, he would have 1 pill a month, and it would be gone in 3 months. To replenish his vitality, a rank 2 martial artist would eat a house that Fang Ping's parents could not afford in a lifetime. That was the difference between a normal person and a martial artist. A world of difference. Especially a martial artist like Huang Bin, who was not doing very well among martial artists. As Fang Ping's mind wandered, the supervisor opposite him was a little nervous. Fortunately, Fang Ping recovered quickly and said, "I won't bargain, but you'll be in charge of all the paperwork. Be fast. We can sign the contract today. I'll pay 210,000 as a deposit first. I'll transfer the rest when the paperwork is done and the house is handed over." Hearing this, even the supervisor felt that this young man was really straightforward. No ambiguity, no long-windedness, and most importantly, money. If Fang Ping really wanted to grind it out, he might even be able to reach a final price of 800,000. However, it was easy for Fang Ping to earn money. If he wanted to bargain, judging by the way the supervisor was acting, he would have to apply to the higher-ups. In the long run, who knew how long they would be delayed. Fang Ping had a lot on his plate at the moment. He had to prepare for the martial sciences exams, prepare for his cultural studies, and train his body. There wasn't much time left. For the sake of the 10,000 yuan, he might have to make several more trips. In Fang Ping's opinion, this was not worth it. Fang Ping was straightforward, and the sales supervisor was happy. The procedures for buying a house with full payment were very simple. There was no need for a mortgage, so the procedures were much simpler. Especially if Fang Ping was willing to pay a deposit of more than 20%, that would make things even easier. Soon, both parties signed the purchase contract. Fang Ping did not need to apply for a mortgage. He only needed to provide a copy of his ID and household register. Fang Ping had made preparations to buy a house when he left the house in the morning. He carried his ID with him and the household registration booklet he had found in his parents' room. He made a few copies on the spot. Fang Ping signed the purchase contract and the commission contract and took out 210,000 cash from his bag to pay. Both parties were in a hurry, so everything went smoothly. The only minor hiccup was when the supervisor saw Fang Ping's age on his ID and flattered him for a while. He knew that Fang Ping was young, but he was only 18 years old, which was even younger than he had imagined. If a young man of his age decided to buy a house on his own, it meant that his family was too rich to care about 1,000,000 or 800,000. Otherwise, it meant that the young man was capable and his family was not worried about the need to discuss the purchase. Of course, The second reason was that he had to be rich too. Either way, it proved that Fong Ping was extraordinary, at least in Sun City. In less than half an hour, the supervisor sent Fong Ping out with a smile on his face. Mr. Fong, Scenic Lake Gardens has been open for 2 years. The procedures are very quick. With your commission contract, you don't even have to show up during the procedures. In a few days, when the property ownership certificate is ready, you can come and collect it directly. When the time comes, you can prepare the remaining payment and complete the handover. He reminded Fong Ping to prepare the money. Fong Ping did not have to worry about anything else. In this day and age, the rich were the masters. If you did not have the money, you would have to pay a mortgage. You would have to make countless trips to the bank. However, if Fong Ping paid in full, these troubles were not troubles at all. After sending Fong Ping out of the sales department for some distance, the supervisor turned around and left, chuckling. Fong Ping was in a good mood after leaving the sales department. 810,000 renminbi to buy a large duplex was still within his range of affordability. He had more than one. 22 million on him now. Even after buying the house, he still had more than 400,000 left. After buying some fitness equipment, the remaining money would be enough for now. He also had a lot of pills on hand, enough for him to cultivate until he became a martial artist. Before becoming a martial artist, Fong Ping did not have to worry about money. After he became a martial artist, he would have the identity of a martial artist, and the system would have a grasp of the general trend. Fong Ping was not too worried that he would be troubled by money in the future. Fong Ping did not linger outside after he had settled the matter of the house. Perhaps Wang Jinyang's express delivery would arrive today. Fong Ping could not wait any longer. He returned home. Fong Yuan had just woken up and was watching television on the sofa. When she saw Fong Ping, she yawned and asked, "Fong Ping, where did you go so early in the morning?" This girl had obviously forgotten about yesterday's incident after waking up. She had already thought about calling him brother before emptying his little treasury. Now that she had called him by his name, it was obvious that she had not thought about it. Fong Ping did not argue with her. He said casually, "I went out for some fresh air. Have you had breakfast?" "Not yet." Fong Yuan opened her mouth and yawned again. "Did anyone send a delivery?" "I don't think so." Fong Yuan asked doubtfully, "Did you buy anything?" "Yes, some martial science textbooks." Fong Yuan lost interest when she heard that it was textbooks. She asked lazily, "What are we having for lunch?" She hadn't even eaten breakfast, but she was already thinking about what to eat for lunch. It was then that Fong Yuan remembered that Fong Ping still had a small treasury. Her brother had a little treasury, so it was only natural for him to have something delicious for lunch. Before Fong Ping could answer, Fong Yuan said happily, "Fong Ping, do you want to eat KFC? I've never eaten there before. I heard from my classmates that it's really delicious." What's so good about a foreigner's fast food? Fong Ping thought nothing of it. Fong Yuan's next words almost choked him to death. "Brother, go and try it. I heard that the president of KFC's parent company in Sino Nation is a rank 7 martial artist. If you eat their chicken wings, you might realize something and become a martial artist too." Cough, cough, cough. Fong Ping choked. Were the two related? Fong Ping did not know that the president of Yuxing's Sino Nation was a rank 7 martial artist. Could it be that their chicken could cultivate martial arts, and one could become a martial artist after eating it? Fong Ping did not know whether to laugh or cry, but he agreed in the end. It was not because of what his sister had said about becoming a martial artist after eating their chicken, but because of what she had said earlier. "I haven't eaten there before." Fong Yuan was in the 2nd year of middle school, 14 years old. For a girl of her age from a slightly better family, eating a few KFC meals was nothing. The Fangs were not well off, but they could still afford it. The main thing was that Fong Yuan was sensible. She had never mentioned it to her parents, so she only wanted to extort money from Fong Ping. Fong Ping did not have much pocket money before. Now that he was earning money, Fong Yuan felt that she had done a great service, so she wanted to extort money from her brother. Fong Ping still had more than 10,000 in cash on him. Taking his sister to a foreigner's fast food was not a big deal. After waiting at home for the whole morning, the express delivery did not arrive. Fong Ping did not wait any longer and brought Fong Yuan out for a meal. It was her first time eating KFC, so she was very excited. Everything she ate tasted good. Fang Ping, who did not have much of an appetite, was influenced by Fang Yuan and ate a lot too. The siblings spent more than 100 yuan on the meal. This was considered extravagant for Fang Yuan. She did not think much about it during the meal, but on the way home, she could not help but blame herself. I'm not going next time. It's not good at all, and it's so damn expensive. Why did you eat so much just now if it's not good? Fang Ping teased. Fang Yuan blushed and said stubbornly, It's because you ordered too much. I was afraid it would go to waste, so I ate so much. You're not allowed to eat anymore. Also, you're too wasteful with money. Let me keep the rest of your money. I'll give it to you when you need it. Fang Ping glared at her. How could she say something like that? Now that the money was in this little miser's hands, it was almost impossible for Fang Ping to get it back. Of course, it was more likely that the girl would hand it over to her parents. That was very likely. Fang Ping ignored her. When he reached his house, he saw a delivery truck. Fang Ping hurried over and asked, Is there a delivery for Block 6, 101? The delivery man was about to make a call when he heard that and sighed in relief. I knocked on your door just now, but there was no one at home. I was about to call you. Coincidentally, you're from 101? Yes, I'm Fang Ping. That's right. Please sign for it. After confirming Fang Ping's identity, the delivery man took out a cardboard box from the delivery truck. Fang Ping glanced at it and felt a little strange. Did a book need a box to carry it? As he signed for the delivery, Fang Ping moved the box. It was quite heavy, so it did not seem to be a book. Wang Jinyang did not say what he had sent him, and Fang Ping did not ask. Now, it seemed that old Wang might have sent more things. After signing for the delivery, Fang Ping moved the box home. His steps were quick, and his face was full of excitement. Chapter 39. In his room, Fang Ping shut the door tightly. 6 or 7 books were spread out on the desk. Basic cultivation method, required. 16 styles of pole standing, required. Basic fist techniques, elective. Basic leg technique, elective. Summary of cold weapons, optional. Fang Ping was not in a hurry to look at the others. The first book he picked up was Basic Cultivation Methods. It was about the same size and thickness as a normal textbook. It was nothing like the thin booklet Fang Ping had imagined. When he opened the book, the first thing he saw was a line of small words on the title page. Martial artists dare to be the first. Fang Ping did not pay attention to the small words on the title page and continued reading. The first page of the Basic Cultivation Method was a detailed diagram of the human skeleton. The human skeleton was made up of 206 bones. These 206 bones were further divided into 3 parts: the skull, the torso, and the limbs. There were 29 skull bones, 51 torso bones, and 126 limbs bones. The human body used bones as the foundation. Flesh, blood, meridians, and internal organs were supplementary. From there, a complete human structure was constructed. For martial artists, vitality and bones complemented each other. If the bones were not strong enough, the human body would fall apart after a battle. Similarly, if the bones were strong enough, but the vitality was not strong enough, the bones would be rootless duckweed. If the outburst was not enough, it would not be sustainable. To become an official martial artist, first of all, one's vitality had to be strong enough to nourish the bones and flesh of the human body. A normal person's body limit was 150 calories. Above 150 calories, a stronger body was needed to withstand it. Therefore, under normal circumstances, when the vitality reached 150 calories and the 206 bones in the body were preliminarily honed, they could withstand a vitality outburst of 150 calories. At this point, normal people could choose to break through and become an official martial artist. 150 calories vitality, preliminarily honed bones, breaking through to martial artist. Fang Ping nodded as he read the explanations in the book. Soon, Fang Ping saw the handwritten words on the pages. These teaching materials were all Wang Jinyang's. He had also made personal notes during class. 150 calories vitality is the standard for the masses. Aspiring martial artists aim to break through the limits of the human body. What is the limit? When there is no more room for improvement, when there is no more room for improvement, when there is no more room for improvement, when the vitality stagnates for a long time. Choosing to break through before reaching the limit is a waste of talent. Among martial artists, there is nothing outstanding about them. Fang Ping did not know if this was Wang Jinyang's own opinion or the instructor's. According to Wang Jinyang, 150 calories vitality was the breakthrough line for aspiring martial artists, but even if it was a breakthrough, it would still be very mediocre. Fang Ping pondered for a moment, thinking that he would ask when he had the chance. Even if Fang Ping wanted to become a martial artist, he did not want to be the weakest. He could not afford to be beaten up by his peers every single time. In addition to vitality, the other was bone honing. Aspiring martial artists did not have high requirements for bone honing. As long as they could satisfy the vitality outburst, that would be enough. When aspiring martial artists officially broke through to rank 1, martial artists would begin to pursue lethality. Rank 1 and 2 martial artists honed their limbs. Rank 1 martial artists could hone the bones of their upper limbs or lower limbs. Both were possible. It was just a minor difference in direction. Regardless of whether it was the honing of the upper limbs or the lower limbs, once the honing was completed, the martial artist would possess a strong single-target lethality. His bones were as hard as iron, and his vitality was like a rainbow. His hands and feet were comparable to cold weapons. At this time, it was common for a martial artist to kill an ordinary person with a single punch or kick. If one chose to hone the bones of the upper limbs first, there were a total of 64 bones in the upper limbs. After completing the honing, both hands and arms could be used as machetes, extremely powerful. After completing the honing of the upper limbs and achieving the required vitality, one could break through to rank 2 and begin to hone the 62 bones in the lower limbs. Similarly, those who honed the bones of the lower limbs first would have to hone the bones of the upper limbs after rank 2. The books also said that one should not look for trouble and only hone one side of the bones. Some students suddenly had an idea. Since the honing of the bones of the forelimbs could not be prioritized, how about honing one hand and one leg? It was not that there were no such people. In the end, some people were stuck at rank 1 for the rest of their lives. When their vitality declined, they were no different from deformed people. The seniors had taught everyone a lesson in blood. They could either focus on the bones of the upper limbs or the bones of the lower limbs. Peak rank 2 martial artists like Huang Bin had already completed the honing of the bones of the forelimbs. At this time, if Huang Bin had not been tricked by Fang Ping, his limbs could be used as weapons. It would not be difficult for him to kill Fang Ping with a kick. When Fang Ping had used a wooden stick to hack at Huang Bin had broken the stick with a punch even though his limbs were weak. After that, Fang Ping had knocked Huang Bin unconscious. One reason was because of the effects of the knockout drug, and the other was because Huang Bin's head and chest had suffered heavy blows. As for the bones of the forelimbs, even if Fang Ping had hacked at them many times, there were no signs of fractures. After completing the honing of the bones of the forelimbs, rank 3 martial artists focused on honing the bones of the torso. Peak rank 3 martial artists dared to face firearms head-on as long as they protected the vital parts of the brain. Although they would still be injured when bullets entered the body, it was rare for there to be fatal injuries, and they could still maintain their combat strength. Of course, if a bullet hit the head, they would still die. Those who were unlucky enough to be shot through the gaps between the bones and hit the vital parts of the internal organs would also die. However, relatively speaking, rank 3 martial artists had a much stronger defense than rank 1 and 2 martial artists, and the area of defense was also much larger. Martial artists in the 3 lower ranks aimed to hone the bones of the forelimbs and the torso. As for the skull, it was too dangerous. The book did not mention when to start honing. As for the cultivation of the realms above rank 3, the book did not mention anything about it. The basic cultivation methods focused on the cultivation of the lower 3 ranks. The book was not thin. Fang Ping could not finish it even after reading for a long time. However, most of the content after that was about honing the bones of the forelimbs and the torso, which had little to do with Fang Ping. Right now, Fang Ping only needed to understand the content at the beginning. increase vitality, hone, and break through to become a martial artist. There was a chapter in the basic cultivation methods called The Methods of Honing that was prepared for aspiring martial artists like Fang Ping. When a vitality reached 110 calories, one could cultivate the methods of honing to hone their vitality and bones. It was difficult for aspiring martial artists to increase their vitality because it was superficial. It looked full and smooth, but there was no way to increase it. One of the effects of the methods of honing was to compress vitality. A vitality that was originally like a sponge could be compressed to allow the body to withstand stronger vitality. As the vitality was compressed, it flushed the external bones of the human body, allowing the bones to absorb vitality and strengthen the bones. At this point, there was no need for a deeper bone honing. When you felt that your vitality and bone strength could no longer increase, then you could consider breaking through to become a martial artist. However, this kind of breakthrough was riskier. Some people thought that they had reached their limit, that their bones were strong enough to withstand the impact of vitality. In reality, they were not polished to perfection. If they did not have enough vitality when breaking through, it would be difficult to break through the bottleneck. If the impact of vitality exceeded the endurance of the bones, then it was really dangerous. Every year, there were people who would explode and die. The combination of the methods of honing and pole standing can hone the bones more effectively. After reading the explanation in the introduction of the methods of honing, Fang Ping picked up another compulsory book, 16 Forms of Pole Standing. This book talked about the style of pole standing. There were many types of pole standing, and the book listed the 16 most commonly used pole standing skills. After years of experimentation, these 16 might not have the best effects, but they were the most stable and the easiest to cultivate. Some pole standing skills had good effects, but they were difficult to learn. Just learning it would take anywhere from 3 to 5 years, to 8 to 10 years. Even if the final effect was better than other pole standing skills, after 8 to 10 years of training, when others were already rank 3 or 4, and you had not even started martial arts, it would be a waste of time. Fang Ping did not read it in detail. He skimmed through the names of the 16 types of pole standing. Unbounded stance, perfectly round stance, 3 postures, horse riding stance. Every pole standing technique had a detailed introduction, basic training methods, graphic explanations, and a summary of the content. Among the 16 types of pole standing, one could choose one. The differences between them were not too great, but there were differences in emphasis. Some focused on the lower limbs, some on the upper limbs, and some on both, but the results were not as good and it took longer. After skimming through it briefly, Fang Ping did not continue reading. He closed his eyes and thought for a moment. Then, he said softly, "The methods of honing, pole standing, and supplements are the main cultivation methods for aspiring martial artists, including martial artists. Aspiring martial artists don't have to think about actual combat. Actual combat courses are only taught when you become an official martial artist. It includes fist techniques, leg techniques, cold weapons. You can choose any of these. There's no choice for the methods of honing, but for pole standing, you can choose one that's related to the follow-up. When you reach rank 1, you can choose one that's related to honing your upper or lower limbs. If you choose a different pole standing at this time, your progress in rank 1 might differ. My goal is to hone my bones, so I don't care about vitality. Bone honing, on the other hand, mainly consumes vitality to nourish the bones. If that's the case, Fang Ping's eyes suddenly lit up. When normal people hone their bones, due to insufficient vitality, it was difficult to achieve results in a short period of time. Even if he took medicine to replenish his qi and blood, there was still a period of digestion and assimilation. How many families are there to support? If he couldn't keep up with the replenishment, his vitality would plummet, and he wouldn't be able to recover. Then, the upper limit that he had raised through cultivation would slip away very quickly. Fang Ping, you do have some resources. However, his resources were limited, and he couldn't use them recklessly. In my opinion, entering a martial arts university is the best time to cultivate. The school can provide half of the resources for your cultivation. It's just a delay of a few months. It's better than spending all your money. Fong Ping did not pay too much attention to this. After some thought, he asked, then, if the vitality replenishment can keep up, can the upper limit of vitality be increased? Yes, of course. Otherwise, how could the methods of honing increase an aspiring martial artist's vitality to the limit? You just said that it's number one. Apart from that, what other disadvantages are there? Second, Wang Jinyang sounded more serious than the first time. He said in a deep voice, secondly, with your qi and blood, cultivating the method of honing won't cause too much damage. But that doesn't mean there won't be any damage. If the main meridians, especially those near the brain, are injured, even if they can be cured, you'll be bedridden for months. Fong Ping, it's almost the Gaokao. Be careful. The first time you cultivate is the most dangerous. If you're seriously injured, you might miss the Gaokao. It's fine if your capillaries rupture. With your vitality's recovery ability, you can recover quickly, but you can't hurt the main meridians. Brother Wang, I'll be careful, Fong Ping replied hurriedly. Wang Jinyang knew that Fong Ping had made up his mind. He shook his head and said, it's up to you. If you're really injured, you can come back next year. One will delay you for a year, and the other will delay you for a few months. Just think about it carefully. Wang Jinyang was not Fong Ping's father. Naturally, he would not try to persuade him again when Fong Ping insisted. After saying this, Wang Jinyang continued, the other thing is the choice of pole standing. There are 16 pole standing skills. Have you thought about which one to choose? I really don't have any good ideas. Brother Wang, can you recommend one to me? It mainly depends on the direction you choose for rank 1. Wang Jinyang paused before saying, rank 1, focusing on the upper limbs. It's more stable and conforms to the norm. Focusing on the lower limbs means you can fight and run, and your lower body is stable. However, honing the lower limbs is a little dangerous. If you're injured, you'll easily become a cripple. In martial arts universities, you can often see some rank 1 cripples running around the campus. Their image is ruined. If you injure the upper limbs, it's not obvious. If you injure the lower limbs, it's normal to be unable to walk sometimes. Are rank 1 martial artists who hone the lower limbs stronger than those who hone the upper limbs stronger? This varies from person to person. It depends on the actual situation. However, under the same conditions, martial artists who hone the lower limbs can run away even if they can't win. It's hard for martial artists who hone the upper limbs to catch up. At this point, Wang Jinyang suddenly laughed. When I was rank 1, I honed the lower limbs, so I can run very fast. I fought with a senior who had just entered rank 2. He was a rank 1 martial artist who had just started honing the lower limbs. In the end, I dragged him down. Wang Jinyang told this to Fong Ping casually as an amusing anecdote. In reality, it caused quite a commotion. The two of them fought for real. Wang Jinyang brought the senior around Nanjiang Martial Arts University for more than 30 rounds. In the end, the senior was so tired that he was foaming at the mouth. He could not catch up no matter what. The senior was so angry that he swore that he would never meet Wang Jinyang again until he was done honing his lower limbs. Fong Ping naturally did not know about these inside stories. When he heard that honing the lower limbs was better than the upper limbs, Fong Ping said hurriedly, Brother Wang, what stance do you think is suitable for me to hone my lower limbs? The horse riding stance. It's the first choice for martial artists who hone their lower limbs. The two of them discussed cultivation for a long time. Wang Jinyang was not impatient. If he did not explain things clearly, Fong Ping could easily cause problems if he messed around. If he was really injured and missed this year's Gaokao, a gap of 1 year was not that easy to catch up with. In Wang Jinyang's opinion, Fong Ping did not need to rush. He could think about it after he entered a martial arts university. He could save some resources. If Fong Ping used the resources he had sparingly and added to the school's quota, he could achieve rank 2. However, if he spent lavishly by himself, he might run out of resources after rank 1. If he wanted to find another Huangbin, he would need the right time, place, and people. Where else could Fong Ping find such a good opportunity? The phone call went on for close to an hour. It had to be said that Wang Jinyang was quite a good friend. He had benefited a lot from Fong Ping, and old Wang's after-sales service was also very good. After hanging up, Fong Ping took a few deep breaths. At 3 p.m., Fong Ping began his first official cultivation. He had a general idea of the cultivation method. Even if he made a mistake, he would be bedridden for the next 2 days. He would be fine as long as he did not attack his main arteries. Without the ability to use internal vision, Fong Ping could only rely on his feelings. After taking off his shirt, Fong Ping focused on cultivating according to the methods of Honing's illustrations while observing the meridians in his body. When his vitality was condensed, the meridians that usually did not stand out would soon show up where his vitality was stronger. It's a little painful. This is my first time cultivating. My body's meridians aren't used to it. It'll be fine after the first time. The human body has unlimited potential. Fong Ping kept summarizing his gains and losses. When his vitality was condensed near his temples, Fong Ping felt a little nervous. If his blood vessels burst in other places, it would not be too dangerous. However, if any of the blood vessels near his brain burst, he would be in deep trouble. In the methods of Honing, there were very few meridians that flowed through the brain. There was only one main meridian. Fortunately, the basic cultivation method followed the fixed circulation system and did not open up minor meridians. Soon, Fong Ping successfully passed through the main meridian in his brain. Half an hour later, Fong Ping successfully completed the first round of Honing. It went smoothly. Fong Ping grimaced. Although he said it went smoothly, he was cursing in his heart. At this moment, his body was covered in blood. The main meridian was fine, but some of the capillaries had ruptured, causing his body to bleed. If Fong Yuan or Li Yueying were to walk in at this time, they would probably be in tears. After the first round of Honing, Fong Ping felt that the previously swollen and painful blood vessels were much more relaxed. As for the bleeding, so be it. He had a lot of vitality anyway. Fong Ping focused on the interface to see if his vitality had decreased this time. Wealth, 3370800 vitality, 120 cal mentality, 140 Hz, it decreased by 4 calories. If it were someone else, a normal vitality pill might not even be able to make up for it. In other words, 100,000 is gone in one round of cultivation. Fong Ping felt a headache coming on. He now understood why there were so few candidates who became martial artists before the Gaokao. Even if all the conditions were met, spending money was no different from running out of water. Unless one was from a wealthy family, who would be willing to spend so much money? Moreover, it was dangerous. Only martial artists could obtain cultivation methods. Most high school students did not have the opportunity. Fong Ping did not have these concerns, though. Wang Jinyang was worried that he would use up all his resources. In reality, Fong Ping did not plan to use the pills. Without hesitation, Fong Ping focused on increasing his vitality. Wealth, 3365800 vitality, 125 cal mentality, 140 Hz, my limit has increased by 1 calorie. Fong Ping's eyes brightened. Increasing his limit by 1 calorie in one round of cultivation was not slow at all. Of course, this was for him. Other students needed about 3 days to recover their vitality. Increasing it by 1 calorie every 3 days would cost him 100,000. Not many people were willing to try it. When I recover my vitality, there's no digestion period. Other people cultivate once every 3 days, but as long as my body can take it, I can do as many times as I want. So, this is how the system works. Old Wong, rank 3 is nothing. Just you wait, I'll scare you to death. Chapter 41. Bang Bang Bang. Just as Fong Ping was feeling smug and ready to try cultivating again, bang, bang, the door was being smashed. Fong Ping did not have to ask to know who had this unique way of knocking. As expected, Fong Yuan banged on the door and shouted, "Fong Ping, what are you doing?" Giggling and panting. "Don't you know it's very perverted? I'm warning you, you won't get a wife if you're so perverted. I'm still so young. Don't lead me astray." Fong Ping's face turned green. "What did I do? I'm just cultivating. How did I lead you astray?" Fong Ping understood when he recalled what the girl had said. He yelled with a dark expression, "What the hell are you talking about? Who's being perverted? Who's leading a child astray? I'm seriously training my body and my martial arts. Do you understand? Fang Yuan sneered. Who are you trying to fool? Can't you cultivate in the yard? I don't care. You're not allowed to pant. It sounds so perverted. You. Fang Ping wanted to cry, but no tears came out. He was even more certain that he needed to cultivate somewhere else. The soundproofing in this old house was almost non-existent. He had just cultivated the methods of honing, and his vitality was surging. It was normal for him to take a breather. However, Fang Yuan heard him loud and clear from outside the door. Who knew what the girl was thinking about him? Hiding in the room in broad daylight, panting and giggling like a fool. Fang Ping thought about it and realized that he was up to no good. He had wanted to try cultivating pole standing, but he did not want to do it now. Pole standing cultivation was much more disruptive than the methods of honing. He did not know what the girl would think when that happened. Fang Ping changed his clothes after tidying up a little. Because some of the blood vessels had burst, his pants were stained with blood. After changing, Fang Ping took his dirty clothes to the washroom. He wanted to wash up before his mother came back, so that his parents would not worry. Unexpectedly, his actions confirmed Fang Yuan's suspicions that her brother was up to no good. Fang Ping, you should find a girlfriend. Sigh, all the boys in our class have girlfriends. You're still single. It's fine if you're single, but you're also secretly hiding in your room to look at those unhealthy things. This is very bad. Aren't you ashamed to be seen by mom and dad? Fang Ping, why don't I introduce you to someone? Shut up. Fang Ping's expression darkened. As he rubbed his clothes, he yelled, Stop hanging out with your scoundrel friends. How old are you? What are you thinking? I'm only 18. What's a single dog? I'm training. Do you understand? TCH, forget it. If you don't want to admit it, then don't admit it. Fang Yuan had an indifferent expression on her face as she mumbled, You're taking my kindness for granted. My classmate's sister is very pretty. Fang Yuan? Fine. Soon, he was panting like a bull and slumped to the ground. He was already exhausted even without using the methods of honing stance. Once he used the methods of honing, Fang Ping felt that he would not be able to multitask. Then, he focused his attention on his own data. Wealth, 3365800 vitality, 122 calories mentality, 135 hertz. Fang Ping's expression changed slightly. This time, not only did his vitality decrease, but his mentality as well. Does it consume mentality? He mumbled. Fang Ping could more or less understand why his mentality had decreased. Concentrating while standing in the air consumed a lot of energy. Both his vitality and mentality were depleted. After some thought, Fang Ping began to recite to increase his mentality and vitality. Wealth, 3357800 vitality, 125 cal mentality, 140 hertz. It's more exhausting than I thought. In less than a day, he had used up 13,000 wealth. Initially, he had thought that even if he increased both attributes to 200, it would only cost him a few 100,000 wealth. Now that he thought about it, he had been too optimistic. Vitality and mentality were not fixed. They would be depleted with exercise and cultivation. At this time, normal people would sleep, eat, and take medicine to recover. If Fang Ping did not want to waste time, he could only use his wealth to recover. Every time he recovered, he would use up a lot of wealth. More than 3 million wealth might seem like a lot, but at this rate, how long could it last? Unless Fang Ping gave up on leveling up quickly and slowly recovered through sleep and food like everyone else. Using a stance in conjunction with the methods of honing will only increase the consumption. Normal aspiring martial artists take a long time to recover and consume a lot of resources in one cultivation. No wonder casual martial artists were rare. Normal people could only rely on grinding slowly. However, as they grew older and their bodies solidified, it would be harder to break through their limits. When they were young, other than relying on family support, young people did not have the capital to cultivate. However, how many families could afford to spend so much money? Even if the methods of honing and stance were given to people like Wu Zhihao, they might not dare to cultivate it. His wealth was depleting faster than Fang Ping had imagined. For the next 2 days, Fong Ping read in class during the day and practiced his stance at night. On Tuesday night, after he had finished cultivating the methods of honing, Fong Ping looked at his stats again and felt a little lost. Wealth, 3320800 vitality, 126 cal mentality, 142 Hz. His vitality limit and mentality limit had both increased. However, what followed was a huge consumption of wealth. From the initial 37 million, Fong Ping had used up 50,000 wealth in just 2 to 3 days. The effect was that his vitality had reached 126 calories. Fong Ping had a feeling that it would not be a problem to increase it to 127 calories now. An average increase of 1 calorie of vitality would require at least 20,000 wealth. This was when his vitality was not high. He would only increase it when his vitality reached the limit, 150 calories. According to Fong Ping's estimation, the consumption might be even higher. I was too naive. Fong Ping laughed at himself. He had been so smug earlier, thinking that a few 100,000 wealth could help him break through 200 calories. Now he understood completely. The system was a big scam. I'm increasing it at about 1 calorie a day. Fong Ping did some calculations. After some thought, he increased his vitality again. After spending 1,000 wealth, his vitality reached 127 calories. Fong Ping moved his body. He felt that the pressure was not too great, so he was satisfied. If he increased 1 calorie every day, he might reach the lowest vitality of a martial artist, 150 calories, by the time of the physical assessment. Of course, he could not be sure if he would reach this speed in the future. As for whether he should expose such a high vitality, that would depend on the situation. It was hard to increase vitality, but easy to consume. If Fong Ping did not want to be noticed, he would cultivate deeply before the physical assessment. His vitality would be depleted, and it would not be difficult to reduce it to 120 calories. Just as he was about to wash up, the phone he had tossed aside vibrated. Fong Ping picked up the phone and glanced at it. As soon as he picked up the call, he recognized the voice of the sales department supervisor from before. Mr. Fong, sorry to disturb you. The paperwork for your house is done. If it's convenient tomorrow, okay, I'll be there tomorrow afternoon. Fong Ping lowered his voice and replied in a low voice. He did not bother to exchange pleasantries with the attentive supervisor and hung up. Scenic Lake Gardens was not slow. The contract was signed on Sunday, and it was only Wednesday tomorrow. The paperwork was all done. When he got the house, he would buy some fitness equipment and some other necessities. This was not a small amount of money. After deducting the house payment, he still had more than 410,000 in cash. After buying the things, he would probably have less than 400,000. Spending money like water. Fong Ping sighed. He understood very well why those high-ranked martial artists were so desperate to earn money. He, who was not even a martial artist, spent a lot just to cultivate. And this was with the system's help. Those who did not have the system's help had a shocking daily expenditure. Without money, it would be difficult to maintain their current level, let alone cultivate. I still need to earn money. But now that he had learned the cultivation method, he found it difficult to practice his stance or cultivate at home these few days. There was nothing at the new house, and Fong Ping did not want to go there for the time being. It was not a bad idea to take this opportunity to see how others trained. After some thought, Fong Ping nodded. All right, let's go together tonight. Yang Jian had only mentioned it casually. Fong Ping had declined the previous few invitations. He did not expect Fong Ping to agree to his request so easily. Yang Jian did not know how to react. However, Yang Jian quickly grinned and said, All right, then let's go together after school. Fong Ping, there will be a lot of people there when the time comes. Many of the top students in the school will also be training there. Taking a look at other people's training methods might be helpful to you. All right, the two of them had agreed to meet up after school, so they didn't talk much and started to wait for the teacher to start the class. Soon, the afternoon class ended. Some of the liberal arts students still had evening self-study sessions, but martial science students like Fong Ping would not. Wu Zhihao and the others knew that Fong Ping was going to join the group training tonight. As they walked out, Wu Zhihao said with a smile, Fong Ping, you haven't been to the gym before, have you? It'll definitely be an eye-opener for you. The gym he was referring to was a gym built by #1 high school, specially prepared for martial science students to train their bodies. Not every student could have their own gym. Even if they did, the atmosphere would be different. Wu Zhihao could train at home, but he preferred to go to the gym with everyone else. Although it was a little messy when there were more people, everyone would be motivated to train if they could compare with each other. Training alone was boring and boring. Many people could not stand the loneliness. Fong Ping laughed when he heard that. An eye-opener? Don't tell me other people can play tricks when they train? Before Wu Zhihao could say anything, Zhang Hao chuckled. Fong Ping, you don't get it, do you? Not all martial science students are guys. There are quite a few girls too. When they train, do they wrap themselves up like dumplings? TSK, you'll know when you see them. Before he could finish, Zhang Nan, one of the two female martial science students from class 4, said angrily, don't be so perverted. Do you think Fong Ping is like you? Staring at girls all the time is a disgrace to our class. Zhang Hao did not mind. He smiled at Fong Ping. Do you understand what Zhang Nan said? Let's not stare at girls from other classes. Just stare at her. Get lost. Zhang Nan rolled her eyes. Don't be so mean. The fiercer you are, the less I dare to look. You'll lose out if no one looks. Zhang Hao, are you looking for a beating? The two of them bickered every day, so the others were used to it. Wu Zhihao ignored them. He smiled as he walked. Don't listen to Zhang Hao's nonsense. Looking at girls is one of the benefits, but that's not the point. There are many top students from other classes in the gym. Some of them have their own ways of training. We can watch from the side. If it's effective, we can use it. But we're pretty much set now. Fong Ping, you can watch and learn from us systematically. Fong Ping nodded. They arrived at the entrance of the gym as they chatted. There were people on duty in the gym. It was not open to the public. However, students from #1 high school, regardless of whether they were from the civil or martial sciences, could enter. Of course, there was a fee. The fee was not high. It was $2 per session, and there was a fee for long periods of time. Fong Ping paid, but the others did not. Those who came for a long time could apply for a monthly pass. The fee was actually to prevent too many people from coming in like a swarm of bees. $2 was not much, but if they were not here to train, they would not waste money just to watch the fun. On the second floor of the gym, Fong Ping felt a wave of heat as soon as he entered. There was a cacophony of voices and shouts. The layout was similar to a normal gym, but the people inside were all young boys and girls. As soon as Wu Zhihao and the others arrived, someone shouted, Zhihao, over here. Zhihao, let's compete. Yang Jian, what's your vitality now? They were all from the same school. There were less than 300 martial sciences candidates in #1 high school, and there were even fewer frequent students, less than 200. Wu Zhihao's vitality was not low, and he was one of the best among them. Many knew him. Hearing the greetings, Wu Zhihao chuckled and said, we're not competing today. We'll train by ourselves. Fong Ping asked in a low voice, what are we competing in? Nothing much. We're just here to join in the fun. We'll compete in push-ups, pull-ups, and sometimes we'll compare how much we can pull. Wu Zhihao explained casually and brought Fong Ping and the others to an area with fewer people. The others had their own plans. They each found an empty machine to help with their training. Wu Zhihao found an empty comprehensive trainer and guided Fong Ping in his training. Although Fong Ping knew how to use it, old Wu was a kind man, so Fong Ping could not refuse. He looked around while listening to Wu Zhihao's explanations. There were many people on the second floor of the gym, but the place was big enough that it did not look crowded. There were many girls among them, and they would not wear much when training. To be honest, Fong Ping was not interested. He did not find it attractive either. If it were a beach, Fong Ping might have taken a few more glances at a group of beautiful high school students. Now, however, they were all sweating profusely. One high school, not all of them would come here, and not all of them would come together every time. Fong Ping glanced around. There were only 5 people in total on the huge third floor. 2 of them were obviously here to watch the excitement like Fong Ping and the others. There were only 3 people who were actually cultivating. Yes, cultivating, not the methods of honing. Low-ranked martial artists did not dare to let their children cultivate that. Instead, they were practicing stances. Chapter 43. Pole Standing? Fong Ping said in a low voice. Wu Zhihao wasn't surprised either. He nodded and said, "That's right. Second-generation martial artists usually practice stances." Stances were not a secret. Martial Arts University had collected 16 types of commonly used stances. But in society, pole standing wasn't limited to just that. If one wanted to learn, it was still possible. Even the 16 forms of pole standing could be collected with a little effort. Wu Zhihao did not care what Fong Ping thought. He said in a low voice, "Do you know why these second-generation martial artists aren't famous? It was because of this. Practicing stances depended on the long-term effects. He would have to wait until he entered a martial arts university before he could truly unleash his potential. After entering a martial arts university, it was said that those who practiced pole standing well would become martial artists faster than the average person. That was why these second-generation martial artists usually did not pursue excellence in the early stages. They just wanted to get into a martial arts university. Once they get into a martial arts university, that's their chance to shine." Wu Zhihao shook his head and said, "But we don't have to learn from them. Pole standing is a waste of time and energy. In fact, the short-term effect was not as strong as normal exercise. Food and medicine were more effective. Usually, only second-generation martial artists would practice pole standing in high school. Stance training depended on the long-term effect. Moreover, it could only be used with the method of honing to maximize the effect. Otherwise, standing in a stance alone would have a worse effect on the growth of qi and blood than normal training. Of course, this referred to those who did not have a high level of stance. If one could achieve a solid stance before becoming a martial artist, the effect would be incomparable to normal training. The descendants of these lower-rank, 3 martial artists did not seek to become martial artists before the Gaokao. Their goal was the future. First, he would practice his stance until his vitality reached the standard of a martial arts university. When he entered a martial arts university and had a solid foundation in his stance, he would then cultivate the methods of honing. At this moment, the effect was apparent. Moreover, they could also borrow the school's resources, so they didn't have to rely on themselves. A standalone stance would not consume as many resources as the methods of honing. It could also relieve the pressure on the 3 lower ranks of martial artists. Wu Zhihao's simple explanation was enough for Fong Ping to think of all these. At that moment, Fong Ping could understand why Wu Zhihao and the others did not want to learn pole standing even though they knew about it. Everyone's current goal was the martial science exam. Normal training could increase one's qi and blood faster than practicing stances, so why practice stances? As for the future, it was still too early. If he did not pass the martial sciences exams, it was all for naught. As for the descendants of martial artists, almost all of them aimed to become martial artists. That was why these people could cultivate the time-consuming pole standing. Even if they could not get into a martial arts university, they would still continue down the path of martial arts. As the 2 of them chatted in hushed tones, Fong Ping was also observing the 3 of them in their stances. There were 2 boys and a girl. Like Fong Ping, the 2 boys cultivated the horse-riding stance. As for the girl, she was practicing the perfectly round stake. Pole standing was easy to distinguish, and it could be seen from the posture. Fong Ping was looking at them, and the few people who were practicing their stances also saw Wu Zhihao and his friend. Of the 2 boys, one of them, who looked more boorish and had a crew cut, suddenly stopped cultivating and laughed. "Wu Zhihao, it's been a few days since I last saw you. How's your vitality?" "I haven't tested for a few days." "Tan Hao, how much are you now?" 118 calories. Tan Hao spoke in a loud voice. He wiped his sweat with a towel as he complained. "According to last year's standards, I could even sleep at home." However, he heard that everyone's vitality was very high this year. Even 118 calories was not safe. "I have no choice but to work harder before the time comes and try to reach 120 calories. Tan Hao looked boorish, and his figure was similar to Yang Jian's. As he spoke, He glanced at Fong Ping. However, they were not familiar with each other, so they did not greet each other. Wu Zhihao took the initiative to introduce him. This is Fong Ping, a badass in our class. His vitality is even higher than mine. He smiled at Fong Ping. This is Tan Hao from Class 2, a second-generation martial artist. Get lost. What second-generation martial artist? Tan Hao scolded and said impatiently, What second-generation martial artist? My father is only rank 1 and a rank 1 martial artist from a martial arts training class. He's so poor that I haven't eaten as many pills as you. Wu Zhihao chuckled. Don't be so shameless. Don't you know who has eaten more? Ha ha ha. I'm not going to bullshit with you. You said that Fong Ping's vitality is higher than yours? Tan Hao's interest in Fong Ping was piqued, and he looked him up and down. At that moment, the other boy, who was more handsome and had slightly longer hair than Tan Hao, stopped his stance. Hearing their discussion, the handsome boy walked over and asked curiously, Wu Zhihao, is what you said true? Wu Zhihao was not in a hurry to answer. He said to Fong Ping, This is Tan Tao, also from Class 2. This year, the 2 second-generation martial artists in our cohort are these brothers. Chapter 44. If there was a first, there would be a second. In the next few days, Fong Ping often went to observe the Tan brothers practicing their stances. Over the past few days, he had benefited greatly. The Tan brothers were easy to talk to and did not disturb their cultivation. When he was free, Fong Ping would ask some questions, and the 2 brothers would answer some of them. Pole standing was considered a semi-public secret. There were no tricks involved. Time was the key. What they did not know, however, was that Fong Ping was no ordinary person. When others stood in the stance for a long time, their qi and blood would be greatly depleted, and they would become dispirited. They would have no choice but to stop and rest. Usually, it would be the 2nd or 3rd day before they could recover completely. What about Fong Ping? If his health was gone, he would replenish it with his wealth. I'm feeling dispirited. I'll use my wealth to increase it. The Tan brothers had entered the stable stance stage, and they could only do it for half an hour a day. It wasn't that he couldn't continue, but it would consume too much of his vitality and mental energy. He would be dispirited for a few days. Qi and blood were still manageable. They could recover by eating tonics and pills. For low-ranked martial artists, mentality overdraft was almost unsolvable. Apart from sleeping and resting, low-ranked martial artists had no other way to restore their mentality. Where was Fong Ping? According to his progress, 20 minutes at a time was the most he could do. But this guy was spending his wealth without caring about the cost. Every day when he returned home, he would start cultivating at 7 o'clock. He had spent half an hour practicing the secrets of body tempering, but he had spent more than 4 hours in his stance. Fong Ping did not rest until midnight. If not for the fact that he could not take it without sleep, he could have stood until dawn. His qi, blood, and mental state were always full, and he maintained his stance for a long period of time. A single session of cultivation was equivalent to half a month, or even a month for the Tan brothers. In just a few days, Fong Ping felt that he was not far from achieving a stable foothold on the 1st level. On Saturday night, Fong Ping consulted the 2 brothers again. Tan Hao didn't say anything, but Tan Tao's gaze changed. This guy is a little scary. 2 days ago, he was still asking for some basic knowledge. Now, he was asking about the 1st level of the stable stance. After holding it in for a long time, Tan Tao could not help but ask, Fong Ping, you're not going to break through, are you? Tan Hao opened his mouth and said dryly, Breakthrough? Fong Ping smiled. No, I'm just asking. Actually, I've been practicing my stance for quite some time, but I've never heard anyone explain it to me before, so I don't really understand it. Now that you've given me pointers, I've made some simple arrangements. There are some things that I didn't understand before, but now I understand them all. Although I haven't broken through yet, I believe it will happen soon. I really have to thank you this time. When you have time, I'll treat you to a meal. Whether the Tan brothers did not mind or were broad-minded, they had indeed helped Fong Ping a lot this time. Without the two brothers, if Fong Ping had to rely on himself, he would not have been able to enter the first level without someone pointing out some of his mistakes. He's really going to make a breakthrough, Tan Tao muttered. When he looked at Fong Ping again, he was a little envious. As long as they did not achieve a breakthrough in pole standing, the brothers would not care even if their vitality was higher than theirs. It did not matter if his vitality was a few calories higher. They had a martial artist father, so they knew more than others. Once they entered martial arts university and learned the methods of honing, they would have instructors and school resources to support them. Within a year, the possibility of them becoming martial artists was very high. Fong Ping, on the other hand, had a high vitality, as long as his vitality was not terrifyingly high. So what if it was Zhou Bin's 125 calories? If they went to school and learned pole standing from the beginning, who knew how long it would take for them to achieve a stable stance and cultivate the methods of honing? It was very likely that when the brothers became martial artists and completed honing one of their limbs, they would have a chance to break through. But that was before. Now that Fong Ping was about to break through the first level of pole standing, he would be on the same starting line as them. Tan Tao was envious for a while, but he said politely, "There's no need for a meal. Everyone's busy now. Let's have a meal together when the martial sciences exams are over." Fong Ping's vitality was not low, and he was said to be okay in cultural studies. This guy had a high chance of getting into a martial arts university. When he passed the exams, they would all be martial arts university students. It would be good to have a meal and get to know each other. They did not have time, and Fong Ping was busy too. After thanking them for a while, Fong Ping left. After he left, the brothers found Wu Zhihao downstairs. The boorish Tan Hao grabbed Wu Zhihao's collar and said angrily, "Lil Wu, you're lying to me again." Wu Zhihao was dumbfounded. "Then," he said angrily, "get lost. Let go of me, big blockhead. Don't think I'm afraid of you too. Fight me one-on-one if you dare." "One-on-one my ass." Tan Hao cursed, but he still let go. He said gloomily, "Didn't you say that Fong Ping's family is average? His pole standing has been improving at a frightening rate lately. His vitality is full. That shouldn't be the case." Wu Zhihao said impatiently, "Just because of this?" He had his suspicions and doubts before. Now, however, Wu Zhihao felt like he understood. While the others were not paying attention, Wu Zhihao lowered his voice and said, "I'm afraid this kid has someone supporting him." "Who?" "Brother Wang." Wu Zhihao's eyes lit up. He asked for Brother Wang's number the last time he came to school. Then, "I think they met. I don't know the details, but there's a high chance that he has Brother Wang's support. Otherwise, how do you think he could improve so quickly?" "Brother Wang Jinyang?" The brothers looked at each other in shock. Wu Zhihao did not know the inside story, but they had a martial artist father, so he knew a little. Just a few days ago, the most talented guy in Sun City in the past decade had single-handedly killed a peak rank 2 martial artist. How old was Wang Jinyang? He was a freshman, 19 years old. What rank was Wang Jinyang if he could kill a peak rank 2 martial artist? Peak rank 2? Rank 3? Even their father had told them to suck up to someone like him when they got into Nanjiang Martial Arts University. Suck up to him, not get close to him. If Wang Jinyang was already so talented as a freshman, he might reach the middle ranks in one go after he graduated. If such a person graduated and entered the political world, he would at least be a commander-level figure. Only the head of a city could be called a commander. As for the provincial level, it was the governor. Sun City was only a county-level city. The head was not even a commander. If Wang Jinyang trained for a few years, it was not impossible for him to become a governor in the future. How could they not suck up to someone like him? The brothers' eyes turned red. Had this kid really sucked up to Brother Wang? Wu Zhihao said in a low voice, "That's what I think. It's very likely. There's no use in you two being jealous. Uncle Tan is a martial artist too. There's nothing to be jealous about. I should be the one envious. What do you know?" Tan Hao scolded. Even if his father was here, he would not dare to say that he was on par with Wang Jinyang, a rank 1 martial artist who was almost 50 years old, and a 19-year-old rank 2 or even rank 3 martial artist. How could they even be compared? The old man was counting on the brothers to succeed now. Other than his daily cultivation to prevent his vitality from dropping, he did not cultivate at all. Cultivation required money. Did you understand? If a family of 3 cultivated, relying on the old man's meager benefits would have made them bankrupt. However, Wang Jinyang was different. He was young, had a high rank, and was still a student. It was easy for him to get resources. With his support, Fang Ping could probably eat blood and cheer-replenishing pills like candy. Of course, this was just a thought. Even if Fang Ping could eat it, he would not be able to digest it quickly. Why does Brother Wang like Fang Ping? Sigh, don't tell me it's because of the reception last time. We should have gone. I regret it so much. The brothers sighed. Wu Zhihao was even more depressed. Don't mention it. I even went to receive him, but I didn't get a share. He guessed that Wang Jinyang saw Fang Ping in a different light because of the sudden increase in his vitality after he took the medicine. Of course, it could also have something to do with Fang Ping's courage. Wu Zhihao admired that guy for daring to call Wang Jinyang on his own. A martial artist should have the guts to fight. Many people had heard of this saying, but how many young people understood it? At this moment, Wu Zhihao felt like he understood. If Fang Ping did not dare to fight and did not have that phone call, he might not have let Wang Jinyang train him. Although his guesses were not entirely correct, the results were the same. If Fang Ping did not make that call, he would not be where he was now. However, Fang Ping was prepared. He used an exchange of benefits. If it was Wu Zhihao who called, no matter how kind Wang Jinyang was, he would only give him a few pointers. He would not help too much. Fang Ping naturally did not know about Wu Zhihao's wild guesses. However, this was also Fang Ping's plan. He did not plan to hide it too much. He had already thought about taking the blame and threw it to Wang Jinyang. However, that was after the martial sciences exam, not now. Now that Wu Zhihao and the others were thinking about it, Fang Ping would not deny it even if he knew. After leaving the gym, Fang Ping did not go home. Instead, he went to scenic lake gardens. In the past few days, everything had arrived. Fang Ping had also asked someone to install it. In the afternoon, Fang Ping asked someone from a housekeeping company to help clean the place. He returned at night. The new house was very clean. After walking around the house, Fang Ping took off his jacket and began to cultivate the methods of honing. These few days, he used the excuse of training at school and returned home very late. His parents did not suspect anything. Half an hour later, he finished cultivating the methods of honing. It had only been a week since he received the cultivation method. However, Fang Ping's strength had increased tremendously. Wealth, 324,000 vitality, 129 cal mentality, 150 hertz. His wealth had become a whole number because his parents had given him another $200 for meals and pocket money in the past few days. Fang Ping did not want it, but he did not reject it after some thought. His parents would be more worried if he did not want it now. He would take it first. It would not be too late to show his cards after the martial sciences exam. From last weekend, before he received the cultivation method, Fang Ping's wealth was more than 37 million. At that time, his vitality was 124 calories. After a week, his vitality had increased by 5 calories, and his mentality had increased by 10 hertz. According to Fang Ping's previous expenditure, 15,000 wealth would have been enough. This time, however, Fang Ping had spent more than 130,000 wealth. It was close to 10 times the expenditure. Still, Fang Ping was satisfied. Although he had not spent much before, it was difficult to increase his upper limit. He had to rely on himself to train, and his body could not take it. Now that he had the methods of honing and pole standing, his body and bones were becoming stronger while his vitality and mentality were being drained. His wealth was not only reflected in the growth of his vitality and mentality, but also his overall strengthening. It had also saved Fang Ping a lot of time. Spending more than 100,000 wealth was quite worth it. There are only 11 days left until the physical assessment. I wonder how much my vitality will increase by then. It was already April 19th. Fang Ping could feel that the higher his vitality was, the harder it was to increase it. His vitality was already at 129 calories yesterday. After a whole day of cultivation, his upper limit had not increased. Looks like I'll have to wait until my pole standing breaks through a level and cultivate it together with the methods of honing. I should be able to increase my speed then. My pole standing will break through a level in a few days. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.